What is up, everybody? Oh, Titan Dandy here, and not just normal Titan Dandy. This is excited Titan Dandy because
This is
we
excited
are here
Titan
to talk
Dandy
about SMITE 2, and not just any SMITE 2. SMITE 2's closed Alpha 1. That is the beginning of 24/7 SMITE 2, which is so exciting. All right, I'm pumped, and I'm pumped here to be joined by some people that I haven't been able to do a show with in quite a while. Some of my favorite homies here in Titan Forge Studios. We have AJ, Pawn, and Clone. How are y'all doing?
Let's go.
Big day. It's a big day.
So excited.
I'm
I'm going to say that 75 more times
so,
how excited I am.
We're talking SMITE 2, we're talking closed Alpha 1, we're talking 24/7, and we're talking next week. That is next Tuesday. It is right around the corner. And oh man, I have so many things to say. So
non-stop.
Let's just start off with some information about SMITE 2 because I think that'll be good to know. So I'm the Andy Reid section. So we have, I mean, I've already said most of this, right? 24/7 is coming next Tuesday for SMITE 2. It is still closed alpha, so it's not completely open to everybody yet. You still will need game access to get in, but this will be happening next Tuesday. When next Tuesday, we're thinking early morning-ish times in the the eastern part of the world.
I have to wake up.
Yes, Eastern Standard type part of the world, but it'll be the morning, so look out for that next Tuesday. Now, regions. I got a list of regions here that'll be able to have full matchmaking support for this launch, and I'm right now. We have NA, EU, LATAM North, LATAM South, North Asia, and Oceania. Yeah, so we have all of those ready for y'all, and we're just so excited to get this game open and get y'all in and able to play.
Window of volume's okay.
It's something we've been looking forward to.
I didn't want it to be quiet.
Since the inception of this idea, since we talked about it at Worlds, and now we are here and knocking on the door of being able to just open the door. So before we dive into the show, I guess, a few other things to say. One, patch notes should be live now or live soon. So we have a ton we are talking about today. Pull those up and go through with us because we're not going to be able to read every single number.
I don't see them in chat quite yet. As soon as they're in chat,
it will be up for you to
I'll
look
try
over
to
all
do
the finer
a bit of back and
details
forth
of everything we talk about, which again is a lot. We've been looking back here. So to move forward, I mentioned that 24/7. It's not going to have, it's not full open free to play yet. That'll be on the way. That's eventually, but you still need access to this. So if you are looking to get guaranteed access, the best way to do that is with the Founders Editions for SMITE 2. Now, these have been for sale for a while. Founders Editions give you a variety of different gifts across 3 different levels. If you just want to get in and play the game, go with the standard Founders Edition. But if you're as excited as we are, Ultimate Founders Edition has a lot of great stuff. And, there's a lot of check marks there. You can see what
you found them? Thank you. I was staring at Twitch chat waiting for them.
Titles and cross-gen Tier 5 skin. There's a whole bunch of stuff. And I think this will only
look
look
wow,
more
it's
and
a lot
more
of stuff
awesome as we get through the show today and really get into what is an Ascension Pass and what does getting 23 of those look like. There's 2 times Legacy Gems. It's just a variety of things, but not the least of which is SMITE 2 guaranteed access for the platform that you
Short description mode,
now,
revised god
specify
damage
that
typing.
Because during this early access stage, the platform you choose will be
Strength
the
or
platform
hybrid.
you play on for a while. Of course, it'll have full, cross support for all the platforms a little later in the future as we push towards free to play. But just important to note that when you choose your Founders Edition,
7 a.m. Eastern.
You intend to play on the most right off the front, just so that
I guess that would have made sense, huh?
Game where you desire to play it for the next little bit. But either way, make sure you check these out. And also, we've heard people ask about this, and it's something that we got to work in games. You'll be able to do this next week in game. You can upgrade your Founders Edition. So if you bought it at $30, because you wanted to give it a shot, and you're like, you know what?
I got scared that was my stream.
I trust they're going to keep
colorblind modes.
Then
good.
You're able to upgrade and still receive those upgraded perks. So, of course, Founders Editions won't last
this is
forever.
interesting. You can adjust
as you can see at the bottom there,
the effects
pre-ordering during the
opacity.
closed alpha period, which is where we're going. We're still
for
in closed
allies.
For 7 here is the only way to get the capture.
That's really interesting.
Too. So, if you're sitting on the fence, just know there is a time limit. You still got some time. It's not like tomorrow, but something to look at. So either way, that is the way you're going to get guaranteed access to
That's pretty
the
cool.
game. Just thought we'd start off with that. So
report player is there.
AJ, we got a lot of stuff coming up. We did that Dev Insight show to kind of tease some things, but how about we give people a glimpse at
North Asia
major headers of some of the stuff we're talking about today.
So we're going to talk
listed
about
in the server region with full matchmaking support.
Right now to give you an intro of what's on the show, and I wanted to also mention that this list I'm about to read off was specifically a result of the community feedback on the Alpha Weekend test. Thank you to everyone who participated in those tests.
SR
left
skill
feedback,
rating.
and comments and filled out the surveys. We really appreciate that. Everyone who participates in the flash tests, we're still running now.
Okay.
Getting early looks at all this
All
content.
new
If you
rank
pay attention to
tiers
our
separated by
Discord, jumping on
600
those. Thank you
skill
so
rating
much.
into 3
So,
divisions.
I got a long list here. I'm going to read the long version.
Okay.
Make sure
yeah,
I
you
list off
switched the long-
everything.
okay.
Do it.
So here's what we've got in this 24/7 patch. These are the things we've done
I'm going
based on
to
your
pause
feedback.
and reading for now because I
Return
want to
of
dive into the
illustrated
new
card.
ranks.
Environment art overhaul for style
Is
and
he just
fantasy.
reading?
Game-wide performance improvements.
Okay, he's
Added
just
the
reading for
K
now,
screen
so I'm
or
going to go ahead
ability
and
screen.
turn them down,
Changed-
and we will read that really quick. Okay. All ranks of the demigod are separated by 600 skill rating and split into 3 divisions. The ranks with their starting SR are as follows: Amber, Bronze, Silver, Gold, Platinum, Diamond, Obsidian, Master, and Demigod. At Demigod, there's no longer divisions. Okay. Once Demigod rank, players battle to earn the rank of Deity, the most prestigious rank in SMITE 2, which is reserved for the top 100 players worldwide. Okay. SMITE 2 rank conquest aims to expand a player base, so we have brought down all the walls and party restrictions. A rank system with few restrictions and parties can allow an influx of large players who have previously never tried ranked. Okay, heavy stuff on smurfing. Wow. 2, 3, or 5. Solo players against solo players, and parties against other parties. That's fucking awesome. There are no restrictions on ranks between party members. Okay. So there's dampening on it. Okay. I'm going to pause on progression and customization on my scrolling and unmute.
CPU calculating with our particle effects emitters and reworking many existing audio sound effects for better clarity, performance, and impact, and bringing back most of the familiar sounds from SMITE 1. So that's just like the community. All of that is done in this patch.
Yeah.
And that's from your feedback. So if you want to know more about any of those things, don't worry. They will all come up as we go through the natural flow of the show. It's not really the same order we're going to go through it, but that's the stuff.
That's a pretty big list.
That's the stuff. That is, that was almost an entire show's worth of stuff just right there in one list. Like, that is incredible. And again,
There's more. That's just the community feedback stuff. And
Yeah.
then there's also
Yeah.
just big features in this update that we were just working on already. So
yeah, I was about to say, that is like the huge,
There's
the
so
huge
much.
star next to
The
that.
camera
That is
seem.
just
Does the camera
stuff
seem
that y'all
nicer
told us.
slash
Like,
different to
we
anybody else? Is
compiled
it
all
just
that
me?
feedback, and we're like, all right, we have some time that we're going to dive into all of this, and literally made a huge bullet point. Like, I don't know if this is.
I don't know if its frame rate is different or
the doc
what.
that was passed to me as we were getting ready to do the show. Like, all right, here's the changes. It was 42 pages. That's like a whole book. That's a.
and it didn't even include everything on there. Honestly.
No, yeah, that's like a novella. So, so thank y'all so much. Again, if y'all ever wondered, like, man, are they really getting our feedback? Oh, we are. No, we are. The team is working with it. So anyway, I guess the best thing to do is to just get started, because as you may have surmised, we have a lot of stuff to talk about, and I don't want this to be like subathon length, so we're gonna dive right into it. So I guess off the top, we're getting into game modes, right? We want to talk about some of the changes we've made to 2 existing game modes in SMITE 2, Conquest and Arena. And again, I guess we'll start by touching on the map art rework that we talked about. So you mentioned that the art's changing for kind of across SMITE in general. What does that mean?
We talked about this a lot on the Inside Show, so I don't want to go back through too much detail. But we did make very specific adjustments to the lighting,
Which we
the
liked when we were all
engine
hanging and
settings.
watching.
One of the things
I mean,
that
I
a lot of
personally was a
people
big
were
fan.
saying in the feedback was that
For
it
sure.
felt a little generic Unreal Engine.
Yeah.
So we went through and really ripped out a lot of those default effects that are in the Unreal Engine and customized them to better fit our specific style. What's that's done is it really affect kind of the way things are blurred at various distances or through various environmental effects. We made the game more sharper and more colorful, more brighter through those effects. Changed the lighting on both of the maps, and just a significant, huge effort by the environment art team to rework a massive amount of mostly the Conquest map. Arena mostly got the
I know we have some screenshots
lighting
for that too.
and engine setting changes.
Yeah.
Conquest had the engine setting, setting changes, and a significant amount of.
I think this is the
individual
same as
art
we
asset
saw
changes.
last
So
time,
this,
which
what
were
we're looking at
really,
here,
really
is
good
Alpha
changes.
Weekend.
Okay.
Old
AWE4,
Conquest.
got it.
Old Conquest wasn't bad. we had a lot of good stuff in the.
They got rid of the dirt.
But
No dirt in our
feedback
SMITE
on how to
Conquest
adjust,
maps.
We have pivoted
Only
to
gravel
the
around
next
here.
Screenshot.
Oh yeah.
This is what it looks like now, right? So you get those bolder greens, brighter greens. You get a lot less kind of like.
No, I didn't like the dirt.
Our ground texture was.
I
changed.
honestly didn't really hate
texture,
much
layer
about
change,
the
and
map.
even if
I mean,
you
I
adjusted it in Venus
kind
itself,
of
you
always
can
felt
see
like,
a lot
oh,
of
this
the
is just like a
results of the
placeholder. They're probably
sharpness,
gonna update
color
stuff.
effects.
But the dirt.
Yeah, it was a really
dirt
big
killed me.
effort across many departments to make it feel and look more like Smite, right? More unique, more fantastical, colorful, vibrant, powerful. The things that people have come to know. And
Yeah,
love in
I have
Smite,
seen that same
and,
thing.
Not like a
I kind of feel like it'll balance out. I feel like at first it's gonna be it was that we don't want realism, we don't want
And I mean, it looks
stereotypical Unreal 5,
better
and
look.
now it's probably gonna
Matches.
adjust to people like
And I mean,
we don't want Smite 1 again,
on the
and we'll
dev,
probably
it's-
find a happy medium. That's kind of what I expect personally.
it'll only get better.
I have nothing to back up that theory. It's just
here's the
how I
chaos
kind of feel like it's
before.
gonna work.
Like you said, not bad at all.
chaos after. You'll notice there's the chaos floor. I think you'll see that better in the future.
We get the
screenshots.
Hannah Montana
The
best of
chaos
both
side
worlds,
has had a
though. I'll be
complete
pretty happy.
overhaul to be more specifically curated to chaos instead of just the tree side,
Yeah.
just the tree color. There's been a floor color and more adjustments to the rocks. Again, it had the more clarity passes
Maybe.
for the floor,
Maybe the dirt could have
ground.
worked.
The sharpness and the color from close and far. We got the jungle screenshots we can go through.
Yeah, if we have that, because then
Yeah.
there we go. Cool. So yeah, this is gonna be it's night and day almost a little bit.
These look really bright on the
I think the
monitor we're already
grass was
looking at
kind of
too,
the
so another
bigger
like,
thing.
It's completely tangential, but it looks different on everyone's monitors too, which is a really big factor nowadays too.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah.
for sure.
certain people use different settings on their computer, their graphic settings to change things like that. But you can see even just comparing the A to B. So that's why we have the A to B here, so you can really see the difference. Like you're looking on your
I
monitor.
still wish
whatever
there
your
was some
settings
kind
are,
of
you
water
can really see the difference
somewhere on
here,
the map.
especially in that jungle, that ground, the trees, the sky being a lot more vibrant, and just the sharper features of the assets, even in the foreground and the background. And our FPS is a lot higher while running all.
Yeah.
I'm not just asking for a League of Legends river, but just some water,
something
something to break up some of the map,
Look at
add
the
some more
difference before and
blues.
after on that chaos side. Like
Yeah.
that, there was a really big transformation there. Just that felt a little bit to that default dirt.
Put a
which,
moat
it was
around
the
the Gold
same
Fury
kind
or
of dirt as the
something.
whole map. Now it's got a specifically curated chaos grass. That's very stylized, very bold. It's like it's really nice.
incredible. So
Reminds me of the
let's continue
OG
moving down this
Smite map
conquest
with
list,
the
'cause it
orange
wasn't only
grass.
the visuals that change. We also have some changes to gameplay mechanics, along with just parts of the map, starting with stuff like towers and phoenixes, right? Like those were changed up a little bit.
That's right. We have inside show. We didn't talk about any of the balance changes.
Yeah,
coming this,
just
so.
kind of an overview.
I'll take the first one and then I can start throwing to Pun and Clumsy finally. But
Yeah.
first off, we have towers and Phoenix adjustments. You can see all the numbers on the patch notes. We're not going to go through them all in detail here, but really the goals are harder to kill.
Yeah.
They deal more damage, and they're worth less gold. That's the combination of features we felt we were getting from the feedback. They were a little too easy to kill, too easy to dive, and they were really valuable. So you could really just snowball super hard.
Yeah.
We wanted to make that a little bit more
Tez
skill
added
testing, a little
me-
bit more risky to tower dive.
Tesd added me in the Smite game chat and said I need to hear some
Yeah, just
chaos
kinda
grass calls.
balance out the rest of the map. They were really big
Yeah.
spikes of gold. So
Yeah.
those three changes combined, I think, should be a very positive improvement to the experience.
Awesome. Well,
See if I can
keep
find
moving
those
down.
numbers you
Layout
mentioned.
changes. Some of the maps are a little wider, I hear. Lanes are a little wider.
That's right.
Wider lanes.
Widening of the mid lane and the duo lane specifically.
Yeah.
And they're by a couple meters, which is our new Smite 2 measurements.
Yeah.
But
Wow, those are
it's
much
noticeable.
tankier towers.
You'll feel it. It's hard to just eyeball it, but you will feel it, and it's
Yeah.
going to feel like more familiar to Smite 1.
Dual lane wider.
Yeah, and to keep
Mid
going,
lane
so
wider.
Gold Fury also seeing some changes, specifically something about the Ancient Fury, right?
Yes, so the Ancient Fury will now spawn on the fourth
Wow,
time
big
the Gold
buff to
Fury
Fire
spawns, so you'll
Giant.
kill it once, kill it twice, kill it 3 times. The fourth time,
Got it.
it'll spawn the Ancient Fury. It's going to happen every time now on the fourth time. It doesn't matter if previously one team had to kill it that many times.
Okay.
So we really didn't see the Ancient Fury very often.
Yeah.
But you'll still have to
I like that.
kill the Gold
I
Fury
like
to
the
track your own
image there.
individual Gold Fury bonuses.
Yeah, I'm going
Those,
back and
the-
forth.
the-
I
those
actually
unique new
skipped
things
over
to
stuff I
Smite
didn't
2
want
that Gold Fury
spoiled.
gives your
I'm
team
doing
for
this
kill- each time you
oddly,
kill it.
honestly.
You can earn those still for personal kills, but now on the fourth spawn, it'll always be an Ancient Fury. So that can happen a lot earlier in the game. That can make the Ancient Fury really valuable And it could be a good opportunity for securing a lead or making a big comeback playing around that objective.
Yeah, no doubt. And
Queen
speaking of
Naga
some of
has
the
4
objectives,
random
it seems
spawn
like we're getting one
locations.
back. Like oracles are coming right back from Smite.
Yeah, do we want to go in game and show off these? Do we
Yeah.
have that during this
I mean,
section?
Hell yeah.
Let's do it.
Pawn, why don't you go ahead and show us off this
In game,
returning
in game.
objective
Returning
new to Smite 2.
Objective.
Yep. It's also a good time to mention
Ooh.
that we are in our dev environment, so this is not
Right.
the environment that everyone will be playing on in the closed alpha. So you might see some stuff work in progress here. There might be some things that are different. Just note that not everything.
I
here
like
is
the
gonna match
oracles there over
exactly
that
what you
random
want with what you
buff.
see. But yeah, we got the oracles.
Look at
They
it.
are the tanky objectives.
Thanatos
that
wings
take a
look
little bit more effort to
really
kill.
nice.
Often you, the jungler, the mid laner, or the support will roam over and help take care of these. Once you take them both out,
You got the 20-minute oracles on
yeah, the 20-minute no item Thanatos. It's the
Yeah.
meta.
it. Meta?
Oh no.
And you can see the Gold Fury on the minimap now does have the indication
Nice.
that this is covered in vision.
Yeah.
There is also a kind of a soft glow that
Yeah, I can
indicates
see
that
that.
the Order team has vision of this.
Oh,
Only
so
one
the glow
speed
is
buff
specific
on
to
this
which
map. I'm not sure if I know
Yeah,
they
you
said
see
this
a
might
kind
be
of
a
red
different
glow
map,
around
but
the
there's only
area
speed on the
opponents
left-hand
are
side.
taking it. So the mid camp on the other side is still the like random rotating buff camp that can really impact your infamy levels if you want to prioritize it. But on this side, it will be the oracles coming back. You know, one of our most successful objectives in modern Smite. So there was a lot of requests to bring that one back, and we're happy to do it.
Get to that in a second, Pod.
Yep.
We
we'll talk
also
about-
have a
It was, okay.
completely new.
Oh, my second mic right
Yeah.
now.
Right now we're getting.
Well, yeah. Well, why not, right?
Yeah,
We
so-
also have a
Turning off my
completely
camera,
new
blow my nose.
objective called the Queen Naga.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Let's dive into it. What is the Queen Naga? What are we looking at here?
Clumsy, you want to go over
Yeah,
this one for
sure.
us?
So the Queen Naga spawns at 7 minutes into the match. An announcement will be played to all the players, and you'll see the mini-map icon.
I like
there.
that
You
she
can see
roams.
the Queen Naga is really interesting because she will actually spawn at 4 different locations, 2 either on the Order side, 2 on the Chaos side. And once she's spawned, she'll idle for a little bit, but then start moving around between those different locations, idling again on either side. So if she spawns on Order side as well, and the next time that she respawns, she'll spawn on the Chaos side, so we get a little bit of that kind of that team favoring going on there. And yeah, so when she'll
Wonder how
patrol,
far
you'll
you
be able
can
to
leash
kind of
her.
pick up her aggro, start fighting, and she actually has like a dynamic leash radius. So once you start attacking underneath her health bar, you'll be able to see you have a little bit of movement. You can take the Queen Naga before she returns back to her location if she's not killed in time.
You can see it actually like it's tracking essentially how far she is from when you pulled her.
Yeah, from that
So you can see as I move
I know.
away, it goes
I
down
feel like
because you're
eventually
about to run out of
that will
range.
happen.
And as you pull it closer, it indicates, oh no,
I think-
you're back
I
basically
don't know.
where you originally pulled. So
That is so cool.
I think it's
It's a really
important
cool
to have
dynamic leashing
that
type
that
of
other
feature.
objective.
When she's attacked, unlike some of the other monsters, she'll
Maybe
actually,
they're just trying to
attack
take some
the
time to
closest
have a
enemy
more
god
original
that's gonna be
take,
there.
or
So
a
that'll help with the
unique
kind of
take
leashing
to
and-
differentiate it from
Instead of
Smite
having to
1.
reset out of the area, you just have to be closest
Yeah,
to
you
manage the aggro.
I'm gonna
You're gonna just power up a little bit.
power up just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, the really exciting thing about the Queen Naga is that when she's defeated, she drops an all-new type of jungle buff called
This
the
is exciting.
Naga Assault buff. And the Naga Assault buff, we can go into that now. So that's dropped from the Queen Naga. Whenever someone picks up the Naga Assault buff, for the duration of the buff, you actually will start spawning Naga soldiers whenever you attack an objective or a jungle boss. So we'll see that in a
That's
second.
interesting.
So there is a level of a cooldown on that effect.
Yeah, and also just while we're getting to it, since we're talking about the strategy here for the Queen Naga, it's not really recommended to attempt fighting the Queen Naga by yourself, especially
Yeah.
in the early to mid game. You're probably going to see either the jungler start,
agree,
maybe
Tess.
support coming in, maybe a laner or the mid laner coming to help out. But you're probably going to need about 2 people to even feel safe. And I mean, if you're paying attention to the mini map, you can see kind of when the enemies are picking her up and starting to attack. Maybe pick up a Sunder cell as well if you want to.
Unsummoned
confirm that a
upon
little bit
victory or
better.
defeat.
Yeah.
2
So they get in
soldiers
range
that
of
only
this
attack
by
that
attacking
target.
it.
That we got some Naga soldiers
That's
going
so
on.
cool. They slither up out of the ground.
Yeah.
Okay, I wonder how
They
tanky
can
they
make a
are.
big impact on the clear speed of a objective boss, and they can tank for it.
Yep, you can see here that I've actually
Wow,
traded off
5
entirely.
hits?
And
Oh,
they're,
5
they're
hits from
keeping aggro,
gold.
They're keeping
Yeah,
healthy
they're-
for a little while.
Yeah.
Quite tanky.
So this Naga Assault buff, Soldier buff, will actually last for 3 minutes. So it's not a short duration thing either. You can use that to assist you with your jungle buffs. You can kind of attempt
That's crazy.
your Fire Giant or do what we're doing here and kind of almost sold yourself even with the 2 items. It's
Wow,
really
and you're able to
Well, the
reset
extra
them.
cooldowns on just spamming my one.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I was looking at that as
You're
well.
cheating.
The cheats do help a little bit too.
I know he cheated.
But yeah, it is a powerful buff for that exact moment. You may not be able to solo it even with Thanatos without cooldown cheats, but you will be able to attempt.
Oh,
with,
well, he had
less
to kill
teammates.
cooldowns. I
a
thought they meant, like,
powerful
when he
controlled
spawned
map
back
wide
in,
buff that it's something that you really want to make sure
when he
that you
spawned
pressure
them
every
back. So
4
you could
minutes.
you could
Yeah,
actually
for
have
sure. Just
multiple
look at
throughout an
full
objective
buff.
if it takes
A
that
very
long.
new objective all around, and we're still gonna keep.
A lot of those long fire giant fights would be really interesting because you'll have like fights that go so long where there's now 2 waves of Naga minions. That's really cool.
Feels really
you have
good.
a roaming boss that has a super cool new power up.
Yeah.
So and
One of the things I was actually going to say that I only realized when reading through the patch notes myself, which makes a lot of sense. So kudos to the level designers. Is so when you kill the Gold Fury 2 times, you actually get this superior leadership buff, which is an aura around you
Yeah.
that affects your nearby allies. That will affect the Naga soldiers. So once you get that level of the Gold Fury buff, you're actually going to be having a little bit more synergy between this Naga assault buff too, which
Wow,
is
yeah.
actually really cool to me.
We love synergy.
I
I
love
love Sim. I mean, this is one of the things I've been most excited about for Smite 2 is the fact that we're going into closed alpha and we already have new mechanics like this we're playing with. Like, imagine a year, 2 years from now when we're really getting into like it's just gonna get better and better. So super excited for that. And yeah, I think that's kind of it right now for the Conquest map. Plenty of changes. And again, if you want those numbers, make sure to go and check them out on the patch notes because there are specifics. We're not gonna go over every single number. Again, we have to like stand up and walk
Yeah,
and the rest of our lives.
that's very
But
snowball
we do have
heavy.
more game mode to talk about. Arena, as y'all might know, was in the most recent alpha weekend and is continuing to be in Smite 2. We ain't getting rid of it. But there have been some changes to Arena. So obviously the art changed a little bit as well, but there are some in-game things that are being edited a little bit.
Yeah, if we have those screenshots for the before
Yeah,
and
if we-
after.
There
we
is no
might really
arena
take a look at
slander.
those.
Yeah.
When related to Malm, I love
Yeah,
some
we went
arena.
through. We used arena because the
Middle of the night arenas with the
environment
homies is
for
unmatched.
arena was a little bit more, I guess.
And Conquest is the
Stable.
mode, but
Yeah.
I fuck with
Conquest was
arena.
undergoing a lot of changes. So here you see a little bit more of the impacts of the engine and lighting changes
Wow,
on the map.
that's
so the art assets
really
on this map didn't change
a stark
drastically,
difference.
but you can still see the results of the getting rid of that blur, that bringing in that sharpness, bringing in some more color vibrancy, adjusting just the like. There's really so many options for designing a video game, developing a video game. So yeah, I think just the before and after here without any like major art. There's some RZS overhauls, those braziers in the middle.
I
got
just
the
yeah,
kind
it's
of
just vibey.
rows
You know
and
what I mean?
flower elements which help do add some pops of color in the center.
ground
I mean, I'm
It's
not
just the
saying I'm a
camera doing it and the
dualities
lighting
make it
doing all that
competitive
work, but,
mode.
yeah, it's a big difference, right? Just
It
with
is.
those settings before and after.
Incredible looking.
So other balance changes to arena. First of all, the battle cry active in the ward slot has been removed because we now have traditional consumable slots. So that slot as a default ward slot doesn't exist anymore.
Hot streaks
that's
and
removed.
gifts changed.
We also
Okay.
have some adjustment to the jungle camp. They're going to be starting at Infamy level 1 instead of 3. Starting at Infamy level 3 was just a little bit too much power being thrown in at low levels. It was too volatile. We've also done some slight balance adjustments to the hot streak and the gift mechanic.
I didn't
I'm
really
happy
play
with those
enough
mechanics. They're
arena
working
to
really
feel
well, so
how
just
that
a bit
was, but I
fine-tuning
could
here.
see that being a lot.
The hot streak is going to be just a reduced effect, so it's not as intense, reducing the increase in damage dealt and received from 20% to 15%, and the gift duration is going to be decreased from increase from 30 seconds to 60 seconds. So a little bit of a decrease in effectiveness of the hot streaks and an increase in effectiveness in those gifts.
Yeah.
So when you're playing arena and the crowd wants to throw you a bouquet, scoop it up.
Yeah, scoop
Yeah,
it
at
up.
the end of the
Yes.
game, they like
Powerful.
I started
flood the area with them. It's really
towards my
cool.
Yeah,
last
this game is
arena
so
game.
cool
People
to
were
see. Yeah,
fighting
they're
for
just
the
landing
bouquets.
all over the place. You have all these red bouquets, like absolutely fun. And now they last a little longer. So as you're scooping them up, running to get the last few tickets off the enemy team, you're powered up. So, but that isn't all for arena. It looks like we're also adding kind of. I'm not gonna say a new game mode to arena, but we're bringing AI into arena.
Yeah, this is just a really big milestone for the game and the team in general. So in this update, you will be able to play arena against AI controlled bots.
Yeah.
So it's our first
oh.
implementation of AI controlled bots.
I thought they meant.
It's going to be a little, it's going to be early stages.
Yeah.
I
They're not
thought
gonna
they
be
meant
doing the
like
most,
into the
crazy
base arena
combos and
game
things like
mode.
that.
There was going to be AI,
We're gonna
and I was like,
getting
"What?
time and we-
I didn't know that."
This is a good opportunity.
Whew! I had a heart attack. I was like, "What are we
If you're new
doing?"
to Smite, or haven't played in any of the previous alpha tests, or maybe you're coming back after a long
But
break.
that's
Yeah,
cool.
Smite
That's
1,
cool.
jump into arena versus AI for your first few games.
I
get
use
a
that to,
feel
like,
for
test
the new
settings and
items,
stuff a
auto
lot,
builds,
so.
whichever god you might like the
Line up
most
a
now.
HUD.
It's really valuable, and we were just working on this
It's a
in the
nice,
QA
like, just
channel
quality
this
of
morning,
life
but
change.
you I think you will be able to also progress your mastery and your god mastery and your player account in that mode
Really?
for now. As
For
until
now.
the future add reduced amounts or caps or whatever like
Yeah.
that. So we don't want people to feel like they're being left out of the progress because there's so much fun things to progress in the game for
Yeah,
this. So
there are. So it's got. So
we
it's
do plan on
Appreciate the
expanding
follow,
co-op
Cora.
bot modes. In
I'm
the
super
future to other
dyslexic,
game
so I
modes
almost
like
said
Conquest.
Korea.
It's going to take more time than Arena. Teaching bots to play
I
Conquest
appreciate
is
you.
significantly more programming work than teaching them to play in
yeah,
Arena,
the
right? It's like
fight in the circle.
right, just the team fight phase essentially is what Arena is all the time. Whereas Conquest, you have to teach them to lane and go different places,
I
stuff like
don't-
that. So it is-
I don't know.
it's-
It sucks.
Yeah, but have now
It kind of stinks that you not stinks,
everything.
but interesting that you can level up with
Exceptional
bots.
items
Hopefully, it's not like that
by
too
getting
long.
into them early. So
So
really
many
pumped for
people
that,
have called you
and,
Korean.
now we're moving on though, and
Because I
when
looked
think of
over
game
at the
modes, I wanna-
following
I
text, not
think
even
I
like
know
my
the Smite
chat, so the
community.
name was so small.
I think that when people are thinking of Smite, they're thinking, all right, I want to play ranked. So I guess
Welcome
now's
in.
a great time to talk about ranked, and who better to join us for talking about
Rabbit,
surprise
rabbit.
guest
ranked? Our
star.
surprise guest star
Time.
today, the one, the only, the number master, Max.
Oh,
Hello.
Mic check,
I'm
mic
on the
check.
screen.
Yeah.
Mic check. Hello,
Let's
hello.
go.
Sounds good. Chat, can
Awesome.
you hear?
Max check.
The Max check.
What's up, guys?
Yeah,
Do
well,
you have
what's
your,
up, Max?
do you have your show notes iPad at home with you, Max?
I don't have an iPad. I have
Oh,
it
we
on
didn't
my
ship one out?
screen. I've got
Oh,
like
well.
5 things.
You got, like,
tell someone to send me an iPad. I'll take it.
It's in the mail.
All right, Max. Well, why don't you take the lead on this and roll us through the bullet points, and we'll peanut
Yeah.
gallery and throw things out as we go.
Yeah, true. Take it over,
Yeah,
man.
sounds good. Yeah, so we've been working on this rank mode since
Data
I don't know,
guy.
maybe when we started like realizing what competitive Smite 2 was like. We've had it in front of creators and a few pros.
I'm not going to
so
talk a lot
we've
over
been
this.
building this out for quite a while, and kind of this first phase that we're going to move into is like the first part of building it out with like the more general community. So we're going to be starting Smite 2 ranked with something that we're going to call the ranked test season, and we're going to be rolling out different features over the course of the test season to like evaluate them individually, and then we can make changes as necessary to them. So we don't want to just throw a ranked mode out there and say this is what the final version of this is. No, we want to build it out alongside people, make sure that we're building the mode like for the player. So at launch, ranked test season will include the new rating system that we're going to be using alongside new party restrictions. And then the next features are going to be leaderboards and the role preference system, which are planned to arrive in the next few patches. And the test season is going to last like 3, 4, 5 patches as needed before we move to ranked season 0.
And
That's
this is
kind of the
gonna
timeline
be
that we're looking at.
Available to play at server up day 1 of the
Day one, minute
24/7
one.
closed
That's-
alpha.
that's-
Minute 1, day
yeah.
1, your first queue.
That is less than a week right now.
And there are no
is-
in-game level restrictions or god mastery restrictions or
Yeah.
anything like that. And as we get into the section more, there's much more flexible
Really?
party
Huh.
restrictions
I mean,
and
that makes sense, but interesting.
rank gap partying restrictions.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
generally,
Yeah, we'll
if
talk
you want to
about it.
play ranked, we want to let you play ranked, and you're going to be able
So
to.
it's
do
the
that day
Wild
1,
West on
minute
day
1
one.
of Smite
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
Your
So
first game of Smite 2 could be a ranked game, I think, at this point.
that's a great idea.
It
You
probably
say
will be
maybe-
for a
maybe
lot
try
of people
something,
too,
yeah.
honestly.
Yeah,
There'll be
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
So we've talked the test season, so let's get into that new rating system you talked about. What's
Yeah.
the
You couldn't hear that? I'm sorry, that was me. Oh, you had an ad?
For Smite 2, rating system.
Basically, ranked comes out day 1, no restrictions, no minimum god requirements, time requirements, nothing, level requirements. You can just go slam ranked with your friends or solo from day 1, and that's going to last about 4 to 5 patches, and they're going to give updates as time goes on.
Now this is an all-in-one system where your SR will determine the rank that you're in, and it has some pretty core features that, to compare it to either one of them, SR is a bit more like MMR than anything else. Like it is reflective of skill. However, we had to make certain changes to it that you just can't do with like traditional. So the first one is that you're going to be starting at the minimum. All players are going to start at 0 SR, can't go lower than that. But you can go way higher than that because SR is an uncapped value. It can go only really as high as a player's skill can go. And the way that it's designed, the way that the back end math of it works is that it's going to be adjusting pretty quickly when it believes that you are underrated, but it won't be as punishing like on a player who, let's say you go on like a win streak for like 7 wins. It's not going to punish you for overreaching what an MMR system would be like. Oh, this person's like,
That's nice.
no, like their variance or whatever. The math behind it wasn't fun to play with. So now we're going to let people kind of prove the math wrong, prove us wrong, go on that win streak, rank up a whole bunch.
That is not me sniffling.
But
for the
at
record.
the top end, it is going to be rewarding players who more like a higher win rate over more total win, like period. So it's more about at like the very top end. It's more
Yes,
about
correct.
being the more skilled
Technically,
player than being, like, the
I feel
higher
like at a
quality.
base level, this should kill
Those are kind of
Elo
the
hell
core
claims.
features that we baked into SR, and SR will be kind of a part of the matchmaking system eventually. But right now, the first kind of iteration of this.
Hindu
it isn't
man
the
typed in
final
chat and
intent,
said,
so
"I
we're
see
gonna be
so
rolling
many
out more
Amber
features
SR
of
nerds
matchmaking
in chat."
over time. Cool.
That's awesome and super cool to hear kind of the back end of how that system works too. So I know with this we also have, you know, SR obviously helps determine where you lay in ranking systems, you know, the usual
Mhm.
bronze, silver, gold. So what's our new system for that look like?
Yeah. I'm not sure at what point we want to hop in game to show off some of these screens, but I can just keep talking about it.
Yeah, if Pon can navigate to that rank
Let-
screen.
Let
do
me make sure I don't show anything I'm not supposed to.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the
Yeah,
trick
yeah,
of
yeah.
all of this.
That's
Yeah.
the trick of it all. So yeah,
So
whenever
while,
you're ready,
while
let
Pon's
me know.
navigating, yeah. So the ranked tiers and divisions, they've been kind of revamped for SMITE 2.
Okay, I should be
In
good.
line with the Switch.
All right, let's check it out in game.
Nice.
Oh,
Sweet. So
nice.
this is the new, like, our first pass at like a ranked season, and you're gonna see a whole
Taking
bunch
a
of ranks
screenshot?
already on the screen. But the kind of gist is that each rank is split up into 600 SR and split into 3 divisions. Those are 2 SR, and I'm just gonna run through all the ranks because we've added a few new ones. The new starting rank, you're gonna start at Clay at 0 SR.
Yeah, so there is a Clay before
Clay.
Amber.
Clay.
You're
There
ready
is
to
a
be
Clay.
molded into a champion.
Oh, this is perfect.
Oh no!
I love the Clay icon. I love the Clay name.
The
so
newest
much.
Olympus
It is
Smite
so funny
League
to me.
division, going to be
But after
Clay
that, yeah, you're
division.
gonna move through Amber at first, and then you're gonna go through the classic bronze at 800 SR, silver 1400, gold at 2000, platinum at 2600, and diamond
Mud
at,
rank.
3200. And then we're gonna kind of move into where things have switched up a bit. Obsidian is the new rank that's above diamond. It starts at 3800 SR, master, which is now a rank that has subdivisions. It'll start at 4400 SR, and then the final kind of 2 here,
Ooh.
which we don't have visuals for quite yet.
Also, there's a flash
are,
test going on right
Demigod
now.
at
If anybody
5000 SR, and then
is sitting around with
Deity
nothing to do,
at I will explain. So
I figure everyone's pretty tapped in.
for-
So
once you hit Demigod, there'll no longer be divisions. The way that you're going to be separating yourself out from the competition is just higher skill rating. This is going to be really cool once we get our leaderboard system in so that you can kind of directly compare to people. And
Yeah.
I've seen the first mock-ups for those, and they look just amazing. I'm so
Mhm.
excited too. We were working on them.
Clay,
just, like,
Goldie,
last night.
Goldie,
Yeah,
Sparta,
the
and
leaderboard's gonna be so cool.
Westerns.
But once you get into Demigod, you're going to be battling for the rank, the title of Deity, which is going to be the most prestigious
Respectable,
rank in
Poseidon.
Smite 2.
Respectable.
And it's going to be reserved for the top 100 players worldwide. So to earn Deity, you're going to have to gain at least 500 SR in Demigod. So right now, the kind of threshold is 5,500 SR at a minimum.
Watch
And
out
then
for
you
me
also
in
have
those
to be in the top
platinum
100
queues.
players worldwide.
Gonna be a
So
demon.
Once 100 players surpass that 5,500 mark, the threshold for Deity will go up. And we're going to hope to
Right.
show that off once we got leaderboard stuff going on. You'll be able to keep track of like where exactly you got to hit to reach Deity.
And with the
And, yeah, I can't
uncapped
wait to
SR,
see.
I like
this'll
that
always be
that like
changing.
the
There will
highest
never be
rank is
locked
just so
spots or a
separate from
race
what
to
the
do it like
average
there
really
was in
good
Smite
player
1.
is gonna
Yeah.
get.
Yeah,
Divisions
it's
like
not
Athens, I think, are
unlocked,
gonna
and you
have
can
big
always just
shakeups.
Get better. I'm really curious
Keep
to
going.
see
Yeah,
where
I just told everyone to get good. I love it.
That's crazy.
you know we
Some of us can't.
ran this system like directly against games. that
Max
got
just
played in
said
Smite
get
1 to
good if
see
you're
how
at a
it
low
is shaken out, and,
rank.
yeah, I'm curious to see how far people can get up there in Smite 2. I
How
think the
how
best
no
that I
lifer are
saw-
people gonna go on this? You know, we'll see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that it's when you capped out in Smite 1, you know, it resulted in kind of a weird play cycle right at the top where you weren't really earning anything, you were just maintaining. So I actually think that people's like cap hasn't even reached yet because you know, in some crazy hypothetical, there's no reason that this can't go to like 10,000 SR. There's no reason you can't hit 5 digits. I don't know.
99999.
I can't wait to
more
see the
when
first
it will ever
10,000
happen,
SR
but,
player.
It's possible.
We're gonna start
And then the
rolling
one last thing
integers.
about rolling, yeah, overflow problems.
Yeah.
One of the last notes I want to make is that it's possible to rank from all ranks in Smite. There's a bit of a system behind it, but in Smite 1, as a lot of higher end players would know, you'd get Master and then you hold Master for the rest of the season. That's not how it's going to work in Smite 2. We are trying to invigorate the competition and make sure that you're really staying on top of your game.
Gonna be a
the way that it's
crazy
gonna work
Paul
is
title
that
on God.
when you reach a rank floor, so the bottom of gold.
They also
let's
mentioned
say, if you were to
in
lose
the
all
patch
of
notes
them,
itself, there's a big mention about them getting harsher on smurfing. I don't know if that means a smurf queue or if that just means harsher punishments, but they did mention
you
smurfing
have to lose
directly.
Again, you have like each time you hit a new rank, you've got a slight, just like the smallest little buffer to keep you in that rank. But aside from that, you absolutely can derank out of it. And it doesn't apply to divisions, so you fall straight through gold 1, gold 2. But once you get gold 3, you do have that one game to kind of save the rank. Get back up.
Gotcha.
Got it. That's cool. Yeah, a little platform for safety.
Love it.
Huh. Well, that is awesome.
Under.
I love the UI behind all of this too. And again, I mean, it's that's in the bottom corner, but like this is an alpha, right? So like this will only get prettier and cooler looking, which is hard to imagine because it already looks so pretty and cool. So, but there's still more to talk about. So we've talked about what
Still more to talk
the new
about.
ranking system is. So you mentioned party restrictions and the way matchmaking is going to
Yeah.
work. What's changing with
Yeah.
that?
You're right, Cora.
Lay it on us, Max.
Yeah, matchmaking guy Max has to talk
Matchmaking
about
guy.
matchmaking once again. Matchmaking.
I
Max
remember saying that
making.
to you at
Anyone who
Worlds,
says
and you were like,
matchmaking in chat banned.
yeah.
Man.
I told that to you at Worlds, and you were like, haha, don't say that.
And from Smite,
I'm
too.
sorry, I love you.
It's gotten out of my control, and that is
yep.
okay.
All right, well, let's dive into
So-
it. Yeah.
So yeah, as Smite 2, we're aiming to grow the competitive player base of Smite. We've talked about that quite a bit. A larger player base for the competitive scene benefits everybody from the lower end to the top end of the kind of competitive spectrum. So we brought down, to start, basically all the walls on party restrictions. There's really only one. So to kind of talk through reasoning before we get into it, a rank system that has fewer restrictions on parties can make ranked accessible to players who like never would have played before. Some people have a group of people that they want to play with and they're not going to play without them. Let's let them try out rank. Let's let them try out competition. And then another point that I want to kind of put out there so people understand is that heavy restrictions, specifically on like rank bans, encourage other
Yeah, that is cool to say.
undesirable behaviors.
I just read
like
that.
smirk. Like when you have it really restricted in terms of who can play with who, there is an like innate push towards stuff like smurfing. We want to continue to take steps towards addressing that, but again, this is a part of this ranked test season. Let's try everything out. And from this period, we're going to get a lot of valuable feedback, a lot of data on like the connections between ranked, matchmaking, SR, these party restrictions. We are going to take in all that feedback and then adjustments. We're going to make them as necessary. So that's my preamble before I get into the chaos, which is that so for size restrictions, players will be able to queue for Smite 2 ranked as a solo player or as a party of 2, 3, or 5. The only restriction being on parties of size 4. And
That makes sense.
the reason for that is that at the start, solo players will only be match made against other solo players. Lobbies like this nature produce the highest quality games for solo players. And then parties, so 2, 3, and 5, will only be match made against other parties. The design intent being that you're going to be the design intent is to match party sizes when possible. But this is going to maintain like a communication parity between teams. 2 parties of 2 and a solo player versus all solo players, had this innate communication differences. And although we won't,
It's hard to
there's no
kind of gauge
combination
that,
of
you know.
matchmaking and party sizes that we're not long term.
Because, like,
This is
one
what we
thing I
wanna
will
test
say,
this
doing so many casting
How this-
bronze at this point, is the amount of times I see Smurfs and cast in
and
bronze
SRs
that are stuck in
curious
bronze one way or another, but are dropping like 28 kill games and they're consistently winning. They just kind of tanked themselves so far, or their account is so new that it's keeping other people in bronze who like are going like 7 and 2.
So, yeah,
It was a pretty big thing.
rank restrictions either at the start. So you can queue with a bronze player with a platinum player. Anyone can join a party and get into parties. Parties will be, admittedly, there's going to be a lot of chaos, but there's always going to be a lot of chaos at the start of a brand new ranked mode.
For sure.
With the plan being that we're going to like look at all the data. If there needs to be some restriction there, like we are going to implement that. This isn't us saying forever you will always have these crazy parties that can open range. But maybe we find ways to make it work. We're just not sure until we get the feedback and the data from that. And you can never really go back to this. So let's go day one. Let's test this out. And we're moving fast over here. We saw how much got changed from Alpha Weekend 4 to now with everything else with the game. We have the same plans with ranked. So we're gonna move fast. We're gonna get a lot of feedback.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which is really exciting. But to start off, the one kind of restriction on these parties that are really wide is that we're going to be dampening the SR gains and losses. So
if you're like a
the
queue
DD
of
leaderboards
4
and
clay soldiers
ranked
with
journeys
one
aren't heavily influenced
with
by being
one
like,
like deity player,
let's do
you get a
all
lot
these
less
things with
SR.
parties
I'm guessing.
to kind of play the system. So and it's affecting both wins and losses.
Yes.
That like if you're high rank and you want to play with your lower ranked friends, you can do so, but if you lose, like it's not really gonna affect your journey. So there's numbers that you can read in patch notes, but basically the wider apart your party is in terms of ranks, the less SR you will win or lose if you win the game. And then if you have anyone who's over demigods, over that 5,000 threshold, competing for the top end, there's going to be immediate like 50% reduction on your gains and losses if you party. So at the top end, probably the best way to like compete for deity will be solo queuing, which is something that we're excited to see test out, see like the best players all solo queue together and see what those matches look like instead of having kind of duo.
That's kind of a cool
The
logic.
determining factor at the top end. Again, these are just things that we're excited to test and get feedback on.
Yeah, I mean, this is super incredible too, and a lot of those changes that you mentioned are exciting for a variety of reasons, which you explained incredibly well. But I think my favorite is really just that dampening effect, because like dampening inherently sounds negative. You're softening the edges a little bit, but that's great for people who, like you said, like I hit the solo rank grind, I build my rank up, and then my friend who never plays is like, hey, I'm on this weekend, I want to hang out and play ranked, and instead of being like, I guess I'll hop on my Smurf account, or well, I don't want to lose all of my SR, you're able to just play with them, and if there are losses because you're showing them the ropes, or they're still getting used to the game, then it
I'm
doesn't
trying to
really
think.
impact you as badly.
I
You still
feel
can
like
have
the
fun.
average rank is probably going to fall somewhere between. I feel like the average player always kind of thinks they're gold and hovers around silver. With all these additional layers, I feel like the average SMITE player is going to end up more silver and kind of fighting for gold. And you'll see your average okay player hang out in that gold plat area, personally.
That's a nice list of features there. I mean, a lot of big stuff that we've wanted for many years. Like we talked about, some
At least
things
that's
we
my
could only
personal
do with
thought.
a big change, like something like a SMITE 2.
I mean, a lot of the player
Hard to
base is
patch into
gold,
SMITE 1, so
like a lot of it.
rebuilding this
A
whole
lot of
system
the
from ground
chunk,
up was one of
big
those-
chunk of the player
was one of
base
those
has
things
that
we
gold
could really
kind
do
of.
here.
I think
So
that
thank
I
you so
feel
much,
like there was
Max.
a stat
I know
about
the
that
chat
too,
is
but I could
super
be
excited
wrong.
about all these features.
One last thing to let people know is that we've redone the ranked draft lobby. Sorry, I saw I picked up my iPad. I wasn't looking at it. I was
Gotta
just
talk about this
going
one.
off memory.
That was mailed
Yeah,
quick.
we redid the draft lobby UI. It's again in its first pass, but one of the kind of key features is we're making it more easy to
Yeah,
quickly read.
same
indicators,
actually.
what picks are coming up with with the intent being, again, you're a new player coming into like the draft mode, don't know what it does. Let's walk you through. And also in SMITE 1, it was kind of at times difficult to know where in the order you were and like you something. You're gonna really clearly map out draft that's happening in front of you. And yes, SMITE 2 ranked is gonna launch with a draft pick, and then it's gonna be one ban per team.
And the top player in the
start.
list will do the ban.
The top player in the list will
So,
do the bans,
yeah. One ban per team to start with. You got to start, like we said, start with the most open environment we can, and we'll go from there. So just one ban per team with one player doing that one ban.
That makes sense considering there's like
Makes sense.
a lot less cards than SMITE 1.
Yeah, it's hard to
We're getting that
gauge.
number up fast.
No,
quick.
we
We're going
are.
to talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll
Hey,
get
hey,
there. Yeah.
maybe you're the person the
Super
new
awesome
system's
stuff,
built
Max,
for
and
too.
Thank
You
so
know.
much for joining us for this. That was really cool.
Of course.
Yeah,
You
so
flew me in from Canada to talk about this.
we did. We put you in a suitcase, so
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but all right, well, awesome. So From there,
Is Max a
we got more
short
to talk
king?
about. I mean, you know, I've been
Huge.
telling you all this forever. There's
What's
a
next?
lot in the show. And next up, we have items. So
Items!
we've got a lot of changes. This is no small amount of change that we've made across the item system, as you might have picked up on from the read off at the top from the little teaser list. So again, the quickest way is to just dive into it by talking about changes to what we're calling the God inventory.
Right, and we're gonna go in game and just show this off real quick because it's
Yeah.
pretty obvious at the
Let's
bottom
do
of the HUD. And you know, we talked about some of this in the inside show, so we won't get into super detail. But
Yeah, it's a lot.
consumable slots returning. You can see next to your relic, you now have 2 consumable slots. Those are going to function just like Smite 1. They're going to be hotkeyed to the same default hotkeys and controller keybinds as they would be on Smite 1. So the free ward and the cooldown ward button has been removed, and this is replacing it. And the only new item in this regard is a health chalice was added. And I will note that there's a known bug on this health chalice. It's only giving you 2 charges, right? The first charge you use isn't going to work. Or no, the third charge.
The third charge won't work.
Third charge isn't going to work. So it's only 2 charges. It's a little underpowered right now. We're sorry about that. You know, a lot of last minute fixes coming in, but health chalice is in the game, you know, and if you refill that many times over the game, it's still going to pay itself up.
No mana chalice, though.
So yeah, that's it for consumables.
And we're
You
moving
can,
straight.
anything to add to consumables?
Yeah.
2 regular wards, 1 sentry ward, essentially all the same rules as you're used to in Smite. Oh, another known one that is currently killing wards does not grant you gold.
Okay.
But we will be adding that for a future patch.
Yeah, we forgot when we ordered them from the ward factory. We forgot to stuff them with. So it's on back order. We're getting it in there.
And for those familiar, you're coming from Smite 1, there's no current 500 pods or like that. You have the 3.
Yeah, and those are still auto consume and apply to you immediately and have infinite duration and do not reset on death. So they don't really ever take up a consumable slot right now, but they are a consumable technically. So that's there.
I hope that stays. I like that.
Early.
I feel like that feels much
Rock
better.
and roll. Well, let's keep moving. Talking about starter items. So we got into this a little bit in Dev Insight, but let's dive in with that.
Yeah, so the starter items are exciting because they now have a new dedicated starter slot.
Yeah.
If you look at that bottom, you can now see there is a 7 item inventory for each Smite God. So you get a starter item in addition to your 6 item slot. A lot of people were loved starter items.
The
but as far as
consumables
the
are
data
permanent,
value-
so you just kind of buy it and it's there. It's not like it's not a potion that you have to pop, and now you have the 3,000 upgrade.
The starter item would restrict certain
I hope that
types of
stays.
strategies. So now it's going to be a 7th item.
The
The
7th
starter
item
items
starter, I'm not fully sold on. I don't
Generally,
know if I like the
differences to
upgrades.
They're not all exactly the same. There's a couple changes and shifts.
I
There's a
didn't
couple
like
ones
the
that are
starters to
referencing
begin
other
with.
upgrades, but having power
I kind of
down
wish they weren't
forms.
in the game. I understand you
So,
need
I don't know if we
something.
want to get into them a little bit
If
more
you're
detail
like
today.
Smite players have
for
that
example, we'll just
that
go
kind of
start
drive
from the
that they
first
feel
one.
like that
Selflessness
helps
is a new starter item. It's
versatility
essentially
and
baby
such.
heroism.
But
So we were.
I don't know.
We wanted to implement this one instead of the.
I'm gonna have to play it
Sentinels,
before I have like a final
line,
kind
because
of
Sentinel's line is kind
opinion
of just
on it.
revolved around being a AOE protection aura in the late game, or healing yourself a lot, which we have other starter items that do that. So heroism is.
I kind of like the aspects.
and benevolence was also a very mathematical starter item that was kind of relied on minor economic advantages being the
Yeah.
primary design purpose. So for support starter items, there's a
True.
selflessness and there's war flag. They both have the exact same economy bonuses, so assist gold, and they both have the exact same.
Well,
health
that's why I
and mana
liked
return
aspects
triggers on
tests.
assists. The difference is the stats and the passives.
I like that you could have an assistance to a certain play style that you want to do, but it didn't really like give you too much early and get you going crazy. And I like that everybody was still kind of on a similar playing field.
Golden dagger, which we worked.
But
in
like I
that,
said,
aspect
my mind could
from the
change
early
down the
alpha
line.
weekends, and the golden shard in Smite 1 into Boomba's dagger. So now you get that cleave. You get that little cleave effect.
Very handy.
And you get Boomba's dagger effect. And similar to support items, the Boomba's dagger and Boomba's cudgel, which is a powered down Boomba's hammer, they have the exact same bonus damage to jungle camps. So you can kind of pick between your damage
like
to
that.
jungle camp bonus is effectively the same. You're picking between the passives. Do you want that cleave, or do you want this alternating single attack bonus damage cooldown reduction gameplay that you had on Boomba's hammer?
Got it.
Conduit Gem and Sands of Time are pretty on track for Smite 1. No real changes there. So are Death's Toll and Leather Cowl. And then we got Warrior's Axe and Bluestone Pendant. Again,
I would just like to say, at
minor
least you guys don't have
changes
to
in
basically
damage
memorize
and
all these
calculations
items.
and things like that.
And
Maybe
all
the
these
one to
new
shout out
ones.
for his Bluestone Pendant is, as everyone
I mean,
knows,
obviously
Bluestone
everybody
Pendant has some
eventually
really
learns
weird
them, but
dot stacking rules in Smite 1, and those have changed many times over the lifetime of Smite 1. So this current Bluestone Pennant is just the most straightforward. Like, it's just a stacking dot. There's no weird, like, compounding.
I just cracked my back and it felt
Like
so
old Bluestone
good.
had, and the new Season 8 plus Smite 1 Bluestone has, like,
I hope for all of you, you have a
uh,
back crack that
an
good
actually,
sometime soon.
like, more punishing subsequent damage mechanic, where, like, if you hit twice in rapid succession,
I
it
like
not
that they
only
brought
puts a
back
weaker
old
damage on
item
it,
names.
also
I'm
weakens
still not
the
sold
previous
on the fact they
bump.
brought back
That's
old
really cool.
items from
So it's
Smite
pretty much just
1.
the most straightforward.
Because
It's the more
I
portability,
saw in the
do a big
flash
dot,
tests a
hit them with
lot of
second or third
people were
ability, do
just
small
building
dots.
Smite
All of those
1
have their own
builds,
durations
and I
and
really
fixes
liked
all
the
stack.
build
So
diversity
it's
we were
pretty
seeing
sweet.
in
Like, the
Smite
most
2.
one we feel like, kind of like you said,
An example, seeing
most
things like Soul
unrestricted,
Devour kind of
straightforward
become
version.
popular on Loki. Just stuff like
And then
that.
all
I
these
really
items have
like that,
upgrades.
and I hope that the old items
They
coming
all
in
have
doesn't
level
ruin that.
requirements on the upgrades. Supports are cheaper to start with, cheaper to upgrade and lower level, but everyone else has the same rules.
Yeah.
And generally, all of the upgrades are pretty in line with the starter. They do very similar effects, but powered up. So a couple that change a little more than others, like Sands of Time into Pendulum of the Ages. That one changes a little bit more as you upgrade, but most of them are pretty straightforward, in line, direct.
No alternate timeline. W
Anything
W
to add
W.
on those design team?
Nope. I think you covered it.
Rock and roll.
Yeah, so trying to get in a good variety of
Yeah.
strategies that people can
And that
build.
could be a 2
the-
Poseidon. You make a really good
on
point. That
the,
could
build
just be
any
what it
item
is.
System compounds really interestingly with this
Oh, for
in
sure.
Smite 2. So these do have specific, like, only int or only strength starters that may not encourage you to build them in any role, but there's a little bit more role flexibility for how you might want to build these than you could in Smite 1, particularly like I can't think of a specific.
Yeah, well,
we'll
especially,
talk about it later,
because
but-
they have their own item slot, though. That
Yeah.
really helps.
Yeah,
them
that
That's
too.
a big thing. And then, as like kind of AJ was saying before, this is kind of the start of the starter item system. We're all really excited to see how you guys take this, and we're going to be taking that feedback for all the things we've talked about today,
Yeah.
really, and kind of expanding on them.
I will never stop underlining the fact that we will always be looking for y'all's feedback. Like, it is so imperative to us. Love it. Gives us awesome action items.
Okay, so
I
next we
saw
gotta talk
that.
about the
Says.
active.
I think relic slot.
Sorry,
Yes.
relics are part of that.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, no, I was just debating this with Tina earlier
Yeah,
today. It's
So
like, okay.
it's an active
Relic,
effect in your
active.
item
Yes,
inventory,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So so basically, relics are they have a slot, and we're getting 2 new.
Right, so you only get 1 relic for free at the
Yeah.
start of the game. We'll still have that nice picker UI that comes up.
Are you
to
guys
help
combat blink
prompt and
believers,
remind
or are
everyone to buy
you
relic if
purification
you're a
bead
pro player and you
believers?
wanna build
Marissa, I
relic,
feel
but
like
a
you're
lot of people
combat
forget to
blink
do
all the
that.
way.
Yeah.
So that'll be
If I
nice.
know
We'll get
Marissa
that
well
1 relic
enough.
at level 1, and we've now added 2 new relics, Aegis of Acceleration and Phantom Shell.
I'm a combat blink believer.
Classics. You know them, you love them.
Yeah, we wanted to make sure the relic
Fuck
options
Aegis.
at level 1 specifically, like when you're thinking about relics versus
So glad
actives,
there's
you
only
think about them
one
together in just
choice for
how many
relic.
total active effects are you going to have in your kit? That's a
Yeah.
big
Because
thing
that
we'll
will
talk
that
about
will
soon
make
about
Aegis
active
feel
items, and
like
also
meh.
what types of effects do you need access to at specific types in the game. The main difference between a relic and a active item is that you can get it at level 1.
Yeah.
All the active items take the up tier 3 items, and there's also the difference is the gold trade-off and item slot trade-off. So certain effects, if you might want beads, you want beads at level 1, and you also don't want to have to give up a power.
Sunder is
going
gonna
to
be cool to see.
Yeah.
to buy a
Okay,
beads item
okay.
either, right?
Yeah.
So there's
I believe
certain
you,
things that
Marissa.
just work way better as relics.
That's important too, because coming from the
I do
alpha
think
weekends,
it'll be a
current starter
combat
items, they
blink
do have an item
beads
cost to them that's
or
incorporated into the gold
Sundering
cost that we've
Arc
now added
angle.
back into the start of the games. and
I think
conquest.
Aegis will be
While the
like
relics,
not
they
picked
are
up a
free.
lot.
They are something that we expect you to have at the beginning.
Kind of like
That's right.
when,
And so Aegis of Acceleration was one, like if you really need to.
like if you guys remember when they took out from SPL
Thanatos
when
took
you couldn't build Beach and
five
Aegis at the same
every
time,
game,
Aegis kind of died off in
wait to
comparison to Beads.
items
I think it's just more valuable.
now, and the same for Shell.
Phantom Shell for me, I'm
They
not
pass
sure. I
through
don't
walls,
see
so
Phantom Ring, but if Phantom Ring is still in the game, I don't know why you would build Phantom Shell.
Keeps your dying, and that's your focus at level 1, which is really important, especially in dual lane. Now you have that option. Previously,
Uh,
wait until you
I don't think they changed it
That
so
makes a
much
big
as they just made it to
Because
where
they
it
want to
has the upgraded
for, like, the
benefits.
relic.
Marissa, they did take out Phantom
Or
Ring.
slightly
That makes
more
sense.
options.
So Phantom
They
Shell
only
will
get
have its
one,
use
they don't
case.
currently have upgrades,
Ymir,
so they're all
Odin, you know.
supercharged. They got to compete with combat blink.
Yeah, they're good. Yeah,
So you probably would see
that-
Phantom Shells
Supercharged
over.
from level 1. And
I
if
don't
you
know what
haven't
the
played
item
it
to
out
the
the
left of
weekend,
print
you
one
can
is.
just
I don't
check out the
recognize
show,
that.
The new Sunder relic.
It
Crazy
might be
cool,
one
so
of the
go
new
check that
ones.
one
I
out.
have not
Back
gone
to
through the
beginning
items yet because I
and
don't
an
have like
AoE,
a.
damage
There's not
damage
like an
damage.
internal item list at the
Used
moment
into
that I
it.
personally have been
It's
given to
potent.
prep.
Lots
I'm
of
kind of
good-
just waiting for the game to
like
come
you
out.
said, active items technically. So let's move into active items. Change. So
So I do not recognize that item.
Yeah,
It could
so
also
you'll
be
see
an
that
item that
project
was in the
on
game
an
with
active
new
item. Previously, there
icons,
was
because
no-
remember, all of
nothing
the
on his
art
HUD.
was temporary.
To the right side of those consumables, there was just nothing there.
Yeah.
But when he bought an active item, it now placed that active slot there. So there was a lot of debate about HUD and where to place these, and
Mushroom!
people were forgetting about them existing. We now have a very new system that just implements this for you. As soon as you buy an active item, it pops up. It is a new item, a new ability on your in the ability section of your HUD with the hotkey to bind it. So you're going to get a lot more visibility.
Yeah, and it's also important to note that we made sure that the first one you got was bound to what was standard the second relic in Smite 1.
Yep.
We want to make sure that the first relic, your first active item, and the 2 consumables match
Your
the
supports are
keybinds
missing out.
that everyone is really familiar
Mushroom
with.
is the goated
Right, so
item.
if you're building just one active item in your build, your keybinds will be the same as
If
your
you
Smite
guys
1
have watched any
keybinds
competitive
for
Smite 2,
console control. And I mean, and
you've heard me
Smite 2,
simping
we
for
have
it
fully
already, but
rebinded
you've also
with,
seen it be
buttons for
a
consoles.
banger.
You can change these if you don't like the second
That
and
item's
third
so
options.
strong.
You can rebind them. Same for PC. But the defaults are all the way through the first active, and then the second and third actives are the new keybinds, effectively, or new button presses for everyone. And currently, we are capping each player's inventory at 3 active items. So once you already build
I agree,
3
Cora.
active items, you will notice you cannot build future active items anymore.
I
There'll be a warning
don't
there.
know if I love
There's a
the
warning on each
limit
active
of
item as you
3.
buy
I
it.
kind of like
think,
having
that tells you
supports
how
be
many
able
you
to be a
have. Yep,
walking
so you can see
active.
that go up
I
as
think
you
that was
go.
cool.
And then as you approach the 3, you'll see these items.
But it does
will
leave
become
them-
unpurchasable.
I said this when they first announced that they were doing that with active items. I think it leaves a lot of freedom for them to make active items stronger. Because if you can only buy 3, then you can make them all a little bit stronger to make up for the fact you can't buy all of them, make your entire inventory OP actives. So
significantly active ability usage than we had in Smite 1.
Oh, yeah.
But
for sure.
through the feedback in the alpha test, it was heavily trending towards it was being overdone. So we walked that back a little bit, and this is the result. I think it plays really well. You still have a lot of really flexible build opportunity, and the whole system is just a lot more clear and curated.
that would
better
make
for,
sense,
making
Poseidon,
sure
because
you
there's
know
a
what's
big,
going on,
you
how
get
to
a
use the
lot of
abilities.
gold in Smite
It's
2.
super exciting to see, and I like the amount
Play
of
one
creativity
50-minute
we've seen
game, and
those
you're going
right
to find
there on
yourself with like 6,000 gold in pocket
Moving
after
on.
owning all your items and the potions.
You mentioned at the top of the show, we are adding a bunch of items, a 20, I believe was the number you said, of new items kind of from Smite 1 into Smite.
It's more than that. I just don't. I don't like doing exact counts because I always end up wrong. Because like maybe we pull an item at the last minute or like.
I will
don't
wait
count
for after
something
the
or
ad
whatever,
break.
But
Anytime you say something exact, karma comes in to change it a little.
with the new, there's lots of new systems.
Oh,
to
yeah.
people getting used to strength intelligence, active items. So the new map changes, the god changes. So we wanted a strong core of familiar items. So we really went through, we combed through Smite 1, looked for the items that had the most usage per role, tried to get a relatively even spread per role. There's a little bit, I'd say, over-indexing towards solo lane because I think Smite 2 had the smallest pool of solo lane items during the alpha weekends. We had a little bit more solo lane items from Smite 1 and about 2 to 3 core items from every other role. There's some really exciting ones in here before I read them all off, but there's also just some exciting categories. So stacking items have
Hey.
constant requests in alpha weekend feedback for those. So Transcendence, Devourer's Gauntlet, Book of Thoth, Gauntlet of Thebes coming back. Those are kind of the big new categorical. Previously, Smite 2 didn't have any items like that.
So it's a whole new category.
And then we have, like I said, the core, like bread and butter items for every role. So we'll just read them off real quick. Is Crusher, Serrated Edge, Transcendence, Heartseeker, Devourer's Gauntlet.
I was saying that
Book
in
of
Smite
Thoth,
2, you get so much gold in Smite 2. If anyone's played any game that's gone like 45 to 50 minutes, you've probably found yourself sitting there with like 5,000 to 6,000 gold in pocket.
Genji's Guard, Demonic Grip, and
They're going through items, and they're going to go through God Balance, which they did not do in the
Demonic
Dev
Represent-
Insight show. So it's pretty different in that regard.
Strength and go full ADC if you want to build more of an int strength hybrid
Yeah.
or a full int, but like with.
So I
decent
think
basic
you're right
attacks,
about the glyphs,
that one's
Poseidon.
a big add as well.
Because they need something for you to spend that money
Yeah,
on.
it's just cool to see all those items come in. So, and like you said, good for players who are getting into it and haven't learned all the new items. They have some comfortable items they can fall back on and learn.
Yeah, build those items
I'm
you're
gonna
familiar with. Most of them
pull
are
up
early game
something I
items,
want
so
you guys to
stacking items
see.
you
Give me
often
2
want first,
seconds.
you know,
Oh, yeah.
build those ones you're familiar with. Get it started.
While
If
we're
you're
kind
not all auto builds, row and aggro,
on this
come through
item
every
kick.
auto build. Read them all for these new items. So the auto builds are really solid. Every god has multiple options for auto build based on your role or play style. You can choose between those to auto build. When you have an auto build going, you
Banger.
can buy and sell wards and consumables. It will not disrupt your auto build. These are really nice features for all this stuff.
Like it.
So if you're, still learning the ropes, build these items you're familiar with first and foremost, and then later in the game you can start, when you have some death cam time, maybe you won't. I know, okay. Everyone's really good. You could look for some new items like the Helm of Darkness that turns you invisible and some crazy stuff we've got in there. So
Zeus in Arena with Helm of Darkness is so good. Just creep up with your ult. Oh, I love it. So.
I haven't heard that particular usage yet, but you would, Harrison. I love it.
All right, so to continue down the item train, not only do we add.
All right, this is what I wanted to
items,
show you
it seems that
guys.
We have a handful of them that were kind of renamed for SMITE 2.
Yeah,
24/7's next week. Guess we better announce esports plans this week.
SMITE 1 items and SMITE 2 this patch.
A tweet from Hindu Man,
any SMITE
and I
2
will
item
mention
we didn't feel like significantly
this week ends
differentiated.
tomorrow because
We
there's
just
Thursday
kind
and
of
Friday,
readjusted
which
back
means
towards
that
the
news
game
is
and
soon,
art
TM.
and oftentimes in the
And
design.
holy shit,
So that
I'm
means
so
you're
excited
also
for
seeing
SMITE 2
Titan's
esports
Bane,
news to be out
Demon
there.
Blade, Blood Force, Gladiator Shield, Golden Blade, Spectral Armor, Shogun's
Not,
Consularies.
humble brag, humble, sly
And some of those are a little bit different from
promotion
SMITE 1, but
attempt.
still
If you guys
generally
haven't noticed
Spectral
or
Armor is
seen,
still
there's a new podcast I'm doing with D'Lo and Fisher from the amateur scene, and a lot of it's going to be focused on esports. So whenever the SMITE 2 esports news is out, and I can actually speak about things I've known about, I'm going to talk with D'Lo and Fisher about it and kind of give deep thoughts on it. So keep eyes out for the podcast. Soon, TM. But episode 1 is out now. It's on my YouTube. It's called Late at SMITE, which is doing really well. So thanks for watching that and giving good thoughts and feedback on the podcast.
Got it. And it's a good push for familiarity too, because like you said, if they
Agree, Cora.
completely stand
Agree.
out different
Hard
from their
agree.
predecessors, why not incorporate them? Popular there.
And there might even be a few more like specific.
There's
renames that we
cams on it
didn't
as well.
put
Yes.
in here. They're on the patch notes, though.
YouTube and
So
Spotify.
some of these items.
Eventually, I'll get the
stole
video
tempo
version onto
from
Spotify
other
too.
items,
Just,
so
I
those
couldn't
items
do
have
it for the
also
first
be
one.
changed. So there's a couple
Cascade
other.
effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're not going to go into all that.
So next up, another kind of huge change to the item store. Basically,
And I haven't even told D'Lo and Fisher this
Yeah,
yet because
that's
I'm going to
right. Let's
surprise
see.
them. But I've already got
Oh,
one
come on.
guest confirmed and another guest who was interested.
So
So
essentially, component system. It has a lot of advantages to the game balance. Being able to track stat efficiency because a strength item from an axe will use all of those items will use an axe, and having that connectivity is really valuable. In a lot of
I'm a
ways, but
big
we wanted to
podcast
also
guy.
simplify and streamline the system than some of the earlier alpha weekend tests. System was just a little messy, to be honest. I'm not ashamed to say it. I was mostly the one designing it, so I felt it for real. We've done a lot of specific changes to the items. I'm looking for my notes so I can read them off a little more specifically. But we wanted to make the items more clear in how they upgrade from one to another. That's going to be a little bit more familiar to players.
yeah, and I
So
guess
the
just to
upgrading
size it
thing
all
never
out, I know that
bothered
we've
me
gotten a lot of
because
feedback
I
about
was just buying the tier 3. I was just double clicking on tier 3 items I wanted to build.
incredible for-
So it never bothered me.
It's fine.
And the only time I found myself doing anything unique with the tier 1s and tier 2 system was if I was playing ADC, I was buying a lot of bows for attack speed on characters like on her who have so much damage built into their kit, like without it, just to kind of get some boxing advantages. So I'd have like Bloodforge Blade and some bows for attack speed.
Never touched other mode.
So
Okay,
I was
got my
just
notes for
clicking
the
tier
item
3
upgrade
and
rework.
double
So
clicking until I have
every
my item.
upgrade is just 1 or 2 components, no more 3 components. We used to have items that had like a whole bunch of stuff that would require. So now you see more of these traditional like tree views. And we
Sheesh.
also have no more tier 1s building directly into tier 3s. That was the thing that was confusing a lot of people. 'Cause you
I'm
would- some
ass at this
tier
game, and I
3s would
either go
require a
like
tier 2 and
24 and
multiple tier
17 or
1s.
like 8
And when you're
and
trying to
19,
navigate
so I
through how
can't
those
do that.
build
I'll
into,
die.
people get lost. So that's no longer the case. Every tier 1 will build directly into a tier 2 into a tier 3. And there will always be at least two or 1 from each component. So this also just makes the item upgrading fill up less inventory space. Like if you try to just, a lot of people, we understand we've been building the shop this way, you're just going to look at the tier 3 items and you're just going to click on the top one until you get it.
Yep.
So now there's going to be less total components in that tree. It's going to be less likely that you're going to fill up your whole inventory with small stat items.
I get that, Tess.
We made the tier 2 to tier 3 upgrades more meaningful. So what that means is there's a more significant cost jump and stat jump from owning the 2 tier 2 items versus combining those into a tier 3 item.
Okay.
In the previous alpha weekends, some of those upgrades were really cheap. So effectively having the 2 tier 2s was essentially the same as having the tier 3 already.
All right.
And the upgrade didn't feel very meaningful. So we rebalanced
Okay.
the cost very specifically to make sure that really is impactful. So essentially, the tier 3 is roughly like 30, 30, 30. The tier 1 or tier 2 part A, tier 2 part B, and the upgrade cost.
Okay.
So it's a lot more meaningful in stats. This power spike, you're really going to feel it when you actually get a tier 3 versus having 2 tier 2s. We readjusted pretty much every tier 3 to have more round numbers like 10s, 25, 50s, no more little like 34. Technically, my spreadsheet would tell you this item would be more balanced at 12 strength, 11 strength. But I know, we don't like that. We don't like gold costs of 12, 25, stuff like that. So we cleaned up most of these. This was really easy to do on tier 3s because the stats are bigger numbers. You have more flexibility. Harder to do on tier 1s and tier 2s. So you might still see a few of those, but we did our best. We also made sure no upgrade path loses any stats. There was some possibilities in the previous alpha weekend where if you
They did not
item,
explain
you
the
actually
hybrid category yet.
lose some
There
penetration,
is
but,
some
like,
stuff
being
listed
passive
about it.
gives you a penetration like
If we go
That's no
earlier
longer
on
gonna be
into the
because you
actual
won't lose it
notes,
as you upgrade. Finally, all recipes are unique. None of duplicates. You don't really have a good way of perceiving that in the item store, but you just have to trust us that every item is building from a unique nation. And we had to add many, many new tier 2 items.
they said gods will be split into 3 groups: 100% strength scaling, 100% intelligence scaling, or hybrid scaling off of both strength and intelligence. Magical physical penetration is removed, replaced with penetration. Tanks now have unique protection scaling on their abilities. So I think that exists. A lot of that has to do with Mordred, who also is designed that way. But I think if they explain it in depth, and I can explain a little bit too, the system itself is better than it sounds on paper. It's a little confusing. If you remember when the Deadman site happened, I was also confused at first, but I actually talked to JMac about it, and when he explained it to me, it made a lot more sense. Let me find what he said, and then I will walk you guys through it.
Item plus the pure item of strength, Deathbringer, the really high damaging at crit item. Then if you go Kopesh to Sashi's dual sword, you have the hook sword, which is the pure crit upgrade. So this is your very critical strike, actual raw percentage focus item. You can see this.
So I talked to JMac, and I said, and don't worry, this will be short. I said, what happens if, no matter what hunters, warriors, and assassins do physical damage, mages and guardians will do magical yada. So I used an example of Neith, and this was actually from a comment on my YouTube that said, let's say you build full intelligence Neith. When she does damage, even though she has full intelligence items, the damage itself is still physical. So no matter what Neith builds, it's always physical protections to counter her, correct? JMac said no matter what a god scales with, they'll only deal 1 damage type, either physical or magical. You'd build defense based on the damage type. So a full intelligence Neith is still only going to deal physical damage. You would build physical defense to counter it, which is kind of that, shout out to that comment for being right on the money and correct. But I think I like that a lot personally, because you get your build variety, but it's not overly complicated to play into or to play around.
So you'll actually have items with
Mordred's
tier 2s
super
will
interesting
convey
and plays a lot
ratio.
to that.
So yeah, here you can see
Bloodforge is the pure upgrade of strength and lifesteal together, so we focus on kind of those 2 stats and be more defensive. Whereas Reaper actually is this item plus the pure lifesteal item. It has significantly more lifesteal than Bloodforge, and then obviously it's passive can play.
Correct, Tess.
So there's some other examples in the patch notes, like Gem of Isolation was one of those ones that used a whole bunch of tier 1s, and that just felt awkward. That's not the case anymore.
It gives build
Avatar's
variety while not
Parashu
making it
was an
overtly
example, which we
complicated to
used.
counter
Don't
the
do
build
that anymore.
variety.
So this used to be axe to axe to axe to axe.
This is a strength item.
It was 4 axes and 2 skeg axes into 1 Parashu. Now it's just a bigger gold cost.
Avatar's
And that
Parashu.
does have a
D-Lo
meaningful-
on the podcast called it Avatar's Farasi. It was something ridiculous.
Bigger power.
Yeah,
And that was
1700
intended
gold.
in make these really feel impactful when you upgrade them. Your opponents in lane are going to need to pay attention.
I started as a
when you
chair
use
too.
those type of items.
When I first started casting Smite 1
As somebody
in 2016 was my first cast, and I was a chair 2.
I have a lot of friends
I did not do any chair 1. I didn't think I was very good at it.
And just immediately
For Sona, yeah.
If you see an item that has a lot of strength, you immediately know, okay, that's going to build into another item that offers me. Like it seems very intuitive to just be able to climb that tree and say, oh, attack speed goes into attack speed goes into
No
attack speed,
chair
that's
2
what I want
Malum
to
and
do
Smite
there.
2 though.
Wants
At
to
least
attack
at
fast.
the
So,
moment. Just
really
chair
big
1.
fan of all the changes y'all been making. It looks great. looks readable, and I'm excited to get the community feedback on how this is.
It's got a lot of, I mean, and essentially the patch note that we're not putting in here is essentially every item has had its stats and costs changed.
Yeah.
So we're not going to read you off every single.
You hear that,
item
April?
increased this
Every
by
item
that,
had
or
its
increased this by
stat,
that. But
cost,
really,
and stuff changed.
as MOBAs do, we're going to let players play with the items.
Hopefully,
and
it's not
feel
too
out
different
what's
from
strong,
when you
what's
finished
not,
on the.
what's changed and
Oh my
what
gosh, it's
hasn't,
Reaper.
you know, then we'll start balancing. We've already got some big balance,
Smite 2 caster.
yeah,
That I
goals we
am.
wanna make
That
for
I
the
am.
next
Just
pass. So
Still
we're gonna
feels so
item
weird to
balance
see
is gonna
that.
Be big. A lot of changes
So cool.
still coming up, and also to
I get
add
like.
that, a lot of items.
Dude,
are
I get like
using,
I get flustered like I'm on my
temporary
first date with
and
somebody every
almost
time I
all
get
of them are
called
using
like a
temporary vision.
somebody mentions I'm a
Audio
Smite 2
effects, Those
caster.
are things that we're gonna polish up in the future.
That's not the final mushroom.
When these items are more solidified,
I
and
want
we
that
really
to be
feel
the
confident
final
with them,
mushroom.
then we'll
Look
be
at him, he's got
comfortable
little
going through and
feet.
doing full art passes on them. So
Yeah.
for now, expect a lot of balance still in items. I mean, a huge balance of change in this
Oh,
update.
for sure.
Continue to expect more heavy item balance in future updates. Or
I still have.
exciting new
There's
items.
still plenty of
And,
goals to hit,
um,
Reaper. But
keep
thank
in
you.
mind
I
out in the long
appreciate
run,
that.
We're still looking to
Thanks,
update those
Seth.
art.
Yeah. Well, once we get a little closer to like going free to play, like going full launch, we'll have a locked in item set.
I've
They'll
got
all
lots
look,
of goals
like,
still.
even more pretty than they do now somehow because our teams are amazing. But for now,
The
it is
Smite 1 icons still look good. You
Oh,
know,
they do.
most of them. Some of them are old.
for a little.
No joke. Some of them are, and some of them we copied over into this game. We're still like real old, but you know.
Yeah, when you have a 10-year-old game, that just happens. So, but cool. So that was items. We made it through the item section. A lot of incredible changes, huge store overhauls, and again, another callback to the community and how a lot of those changes came directly from stuff that y'all brought to us. From
Just
these
hoping
awful
that
weekends and said,
the
"Hey, this just
reception I
doesn't
get
make
from the
sense,"
general
or, "Hey,
community
this
is
was
as
cool, you
positive.
tried it, maybe
Reaper,
clean it up a little."
thank you.
So, just a huge shout out to y'all again, as I'm going to.
I
do
appreciate
everyone.
that a ton, my friend.
But we're gonna keep moving. We have more to talk about. Of
Thank
course,
you
we're
so
not done
much.
yet. There's so much that's happening for Closed Alpha 1.
Doing
And
pretty
next
good.
up, we are doing.
But I just
pretty
hope the
good.
community
Next up,
reception
we're
is as
talking
positive
about
as
gods.
like
So
the
we'll talk
community
about
of
the
people
items. We
I
don't
know
have to
from
go
the
there.
amateur scene is to me being in the Smite 2 casting scene.
So,
With the
let's
team,
get right into
I
it.
hope the community reception is as positive. There's going to be negative, and I'm fine with that. One thing I've said to friends, and I will say this at least once or twice on like a stream setting, I am not going to be very bothered if I'm hated. That's not something that's going to bother me. Don't die on a hill defending me, yada yada. Like, please don't. There's no need. I am just happy to be casting it. I don't care if I'm hated. That means at least they're listening enough to know what I said to hate me, and that's a positive in my book. So I'm just excited to cast Smite 2, and the nice stuff means a lot. The feedback is always great too. But just thank you guys. I'm super excited. Thank you. I appreciate you talking about the passion. That is a biggie.
Right, so you only need one type
I
of
really do
weapon
genuinely
to
like casting Smite.
to
I just like
access and
casting.
Build easier combos between
Exactly.
int pen and strength pen, where it's not limited with the pen is mismatching.
Here's
of
the hybrid discussion,
type you want on
as
the
we were just
stack.
talking about it.
So they can still buy. Gods can still buy all items, and gods will still scale with variety of stats. That's the next section.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
But gods will only deal one damage type. So if you see a Neath, you know it's physical damage. You don't got to think about it again.
Cool. And yeah, obviously there's
It's
a
funny
whole
they
list of
use
those
Neath
of,
as
like,
the
what does
example.
what. It'll be listed with a specific god. You can also look at the patch notes if you want to see that entire
Goals are
list and, like, the
important,
way it's
you know?
separated. We
Goals
figured
are
out
important, but it's also
Right.
important to acknowledge when you make micro steps, because any micro step is still a step towards that goal. That was something I had to really, really get on myself about with casting.
Yeah, so we've kind of adjusted this slightly so that gods are now specifically categorized into 3 types of scaling.
Okay.
Strength ability scaling, int ability scaling, or mixed ability scaling. So strength ability scaling gods will only be
Look,
able, will essentially
I'm
have
a
no
little bit
use for
deeper.
intelligence. They can still buy all the items.
I'm a little bit
but they
deeper
will
than
effectively
I come
not
across
have a use
sometimes.
for
I do have
intelligence.
some
They
actual
just
thoughts
scale
and
off
brain
strength,
usage.
and that's all they got to think about. I guess the only slight exception is basic attacks. There's an exception.
Yeah,
on
it's just
the
like
patch notes.
we'll get
So
to that.
every god scales off 100% strength plus 20% int for their basic attack. So
I
even
don't
those
just
gods, like,
thirst
if you
about
build-
soul
if you
on
wanna build
broadcast.
Chronos
I just
Predator
do a
on
lot
just
of
for
that.
Super low cooldown impales.
Yeah.
You will get a little bit of basic attack damage from that intelligence on that item, and you still there is still that exception. But for the ability scaling,
Freya and
strength only.
Cerberus waiting room.
We had a couple gods like Loki.
Hopefully they're
that had
just as
maybe
iconic
one,
in Smite 2, yeah?
utility effect on one ability that would maybe scale off intelligence. We found that most people were finding that to be confusing and not meaningful and not useful.
Full
So-
intelligence blind build went so hard.
Yeah, those things have been removed. It's generally really small things on a couple gods.
Yeah.
So I think in this list, Loki is like the only example of the strength only gods that had an int. So then int only gods, similarly, none of their abilities scale off strength. They still can do ADC builds by building strength, because they will get 100% strength scaling on their basic attacks. Everybody has that, but they won't have anything on their abilities that scales off strength. Int gods.
Makes sense.
And then mixed ability scaling gods will use strength and int for various ability damage scaling effects throughout the kit. This includes
I got
Ares,
invited to
Athena,
playtest
Bacchus,
Splitgate
Cernunnos,
2
Chalk,
on Steam.
Mordred, Neith, Odin, Sol, Ymir.
I was a big
We have a couple
Splitgate
balance
1
changes
fan.
we'll get to soon that explain some of these choices a little bit more specifically.
I heard Splitgate
These
2 isn't
gods
amazing,
generally,
but I'm still excited to try.
specifically like, Sol and Ymir, we wanted to encourage a strength build because they have true ADC potential, even though they're historically magical gods.
Yeah.
So we added a little bit of strength scaling to their abilities to make those more smooth, and we'll talk about that soon.
Yeah, but
So
super cool stuff there. And again, there's lists of all of these. We just gave y'all like the mix list there, but the list of all 3 of the different categories will be or is available on the patch notes. You can check that out if you want to see like where does my god fall on that list. So again, it's relatively intuitive, especially if you come from Smite 1.
I liked that
If you're
idea
new
too,
here,
Poseidon.
check out to figure out what kind of build path you should be. So now, like you said, we have some buffs and nerfs to talk about. This isn't going to be every single.
I could
buff and
see
nerf.
why
There are
they're
more
going
on
it the
patch
other
notes,
way.
so if,
Yeah,
you know,
same,
if you're-
but I
you
just
wanna read
like,
through all of those,
I don't
there's
know,
a
it was
few to talk
interesting.
about here.
I hope
we kind of isolated some,
kind of
some
like with
the
the
big
active
ones.
items and with the what was the other thing we talked about? I forget the other thing we talked about, but I just hope that we eventually find a happy middle ground.
So Ares, first off, his basic attack damage, it's been changed from physical to magical, again, to go with the previous discussion point that we had. Blessed Armaments, that's his new passive, the one that for the amount of protections and cooldown rate
For those
he builds,
casters
he
out
gets
there,
more
Ares
instant
passive is one of the
strength given to
things
his
that
team.
I
It was giving
think
him quite a
Ares
bit,
passive,
a
and I
lot
believe
from
Ares
the,
2
He's real good.
have
it's
name
20%
changes. There's not
increased
many
protection
ability
and
name
being
changes
converted to
out there,
strength.
but there are
It's
some.
now 12.5%, so a pretty substantial nerf there. Also, Shackles, we had a bug with him. He was dealing essentially the chain dot was stacking in a way that was unintended. It wasn't actually showing the damage numbers, but all the individual chains did full damage for what they were supposed to do, which is why I think in our weekend had like a 65% win rate.
he was by far the winningest
he
god
was
in the
insane.
last alpha test. So he needed some nerfs and
So
fixes.
yeah, he got a lot of essentially nerfs for his passive, fixes for this shackle
Anubis
damage that was
passive
really,
also
really getting him a
changed.
ton of damage. Also again changed the damage type. And then finally, No Escape. The initial damage has been shifted around a little bit. So now it has it goes from 65 to 165 plus 25 to 60, 140 plus 30% strength. So lower base but higher strength scaling potential.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, one of the cool things about this mixed scalings is like, even though Ares is still going to do
And
all
yeah,
magical damage,
Zeus 2 is
you can
different.
build a full strength Ares build, which is
Zeus
something I
2
feel
is
like
called
Smite 1
Thunderclap.
Players have always wanted was like and they felt like Ares might have fit better as a physical god. and things like that.
Thunderclap.
And now those type of things are possible.
And we did things to support it too, like and cancel
So
properly.
cool.
So
Yeah,
we also made changes to the god's field to make sure that that is more supported.
yeah.
Y'all just can't not do good work. However you phrase that, they do great work. So continuing down Guardians that start with A, let's talk about Athena.
Yeah, so Athena is the damage tape change from physical to magical, like we talked about. We're gonna see that kind of trend along a lot of these. Reach, the passive damage was also changed from physical to magical.
Lore
and the
accurate.
damage was actually shifted from scaling off of basic attack damage to scaling back to more traditional strength and
Let me move my
intelligence.
camera
So there were
slightly.
some fun, quirky little combos you could do.
Double multiplication with Hydras and crit.
Yeah, some things that you could do that. I mean, I was having a lot of fun in some of the alpha weekends.
we
going
can
for
read the
Athena in
int
jungle,
thing.
but,
It
you know,
just
maybe
said
a little
70
bit too
strength
much
at
fun.
first.
A lot of people noticed that. So now, if you want to have that extra damage off of your reach passive, you're going to need to probably build off of not dagger or frenzy and more traditional strength. And
And there is one little loaded change in here, which is that int is significantly higher. So if you want to do full int magical like jungle Athena, reach is going to be scaling a lot better off that than previous.
Your normal
I think
basic
Athena
attacks
is a
100
very,
to
very,
20
very
is
good
now
jungler,
125
and
70, which is really
she
big.
might be surprising.
Preemptive strikes, also the damage changing from physical to magical, and so we're doing some fun stuff here with protection scaling, right? So physical protections
Can't wait for
increase
Merlin.
to
Yeah,
scale with physical
Merlin's gonna be
protections
cool.
from your builds, and same thing with
All the
magical
stance
protections, but
changers
more
I think are
interestingly
gonna be
there,
interesting.
Confound, the taunt duration, is actually going to be scaling with protections from items as well. So you're going to get a 0.2 seconds increase to your taunt duration for every 150 protections from items.
That's interesting.
And I believe this is the threshold version, right?
Yes.
So you have to actually get to 150 prots to see that benefit. It won't actually be, if you're at 140, you won't see this benefit yet.
Yep. So you have to get from
That's a
items
cool type
specifically
of
either physical or
build
magical
path
protection,
thing to
get
play
the
with.
150, get to 300 for the max.
Yeah, and super cool too to see like with all these scaling changes to see that now protections on Guardian start to provide scaling for their abilities as well. So you get to scale from protection. Just really cool, especially as a Guardian lover. So continuing on that train, we have Bacchus getting well.
I'll take it.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
So again, type changings to match the above notes. Chug now has damage scaling increased to be more intense. So it goes from 0 to 60 to actually ranking up each time you rank up Chug. So you have more of a reason to
It will
rank
be
up Chug.
annoying.
Belly Flop had the damage change again.
It will definitely be
We also
annoying.
now have another protection scaling component added. So rather than just 85% of strength, it's also now plus 60% of your protection.
Anti-healing
as well.
back on
So this
belch,
gives you
that's
another reason
nice.
to go really tanky and get that extra belly
He's
flop.
heavy boy.
Yeah, he's heavier.
Heavy
When
boy.
he's wearing that much armor, it hurts more. It
That's
just
true.
makes sense. And then Belch of the Gods, it now applies anti-heal again. That was
That's
something that
interesting.
we removed in a very earlier
That's a
version of
bigger.
this,
That's
but
a
it felt
pretty
like
big
he was just
change
missing that
that I
utility
feel like
and
it's going to
brought
go
this team.
kind
So
of
he now applies
unnoticed.
Anti-heal again. We've also increased the base damage overall just to give him a bit more potential when fighting, especially as you rank this up.
Hey, Blackjack.
Yeah, so don't get jumped on if he's wearing full plate.
Smite
now,
era
that will
for a
help
Smite 2
lot.
caster.
So moving
But I
on to
still
somebody else who
fucking
wears
love
armor, we can
Rocket
pull-
League.
Yep. So Blono is actually pretty interesting because we had to do, we also want to do a little bit of balance where we can for.
You'll still catch me
Scots. This is
casting
gonna be a little bit of a
RLSS
shift.
when I have
Blono's
time as well.
In Smite 2 has been pretty good certain
Probably the
times,
only
and this
one of
is
the
gonna
only
be toned
Rocket
down
League
in some
places I'll have
aspects and
time
bumping
for.
up in others.
I am
The basic attack from
casting
Blona, specifically in the Hammer's Cleave damage.
this
be
weekend. I
changed
am
very-
casting the BGI solo series event on
Massive,
Saturday.
on the other hand, passive,
But that'll probably be my last Rocket League one for a little bit
to 4%. Same thing
so,
here for the magical protection.
until the next
like a lot, but
RLSS
then also
seasons
there's
catches back up, and I'll be
powers.
doing
It was
probably
fantastic.
weekdays
That's
for
especially
RLSS.
because Smite 2's Master of War passive is slightly stronger just as a whole. It gives you a lot more than in Smite 1's. Shield Bash, well, we're playing along with that protection scaling again. So the damage is scaling from 70% strength to 70% strength and
There
30%
also may
protections.
be
The
there
base
might be
reflect
some
damage is being
light Call of
decreased over
Duty
30 to
stuff before
25.
the end
So
of
for
the
Shield
year,
Bash
but
specifically, which kind of like
I can
iconically the
mention that I'm
defensive
talking about it, but it
ability,
isn't
you're actually
anything
getting a
locked in.
benefit
It
from
isn't like
being
a
little bit
final
more
official
defensive.
thing, nothing like that.
Similarly,
And it's
for
not a
this Rally, the
significant thing. It
ultimate,
wouldn't take
the
time
strength,
away from any other
bonus
games.
and the intelligence bonus is going to be shifted
But
to actually be a lower base
might
amount.
have a
but
couple
now
cool
gaining
things with
10%
Call of Duty.
protection scaling. So overall, if you're building more frontline, you're building a little bit more tankier, you're going to see a noticeable jump in the buff that you're providing.
Yeah,
As well as physical protection increase with 10% and magical protection increase by 10% of your
Yeah.
protection. Still, again,
Eagles
a little
Rally
bit
is one
more
of the
strength
cooler
there from your
abilities in the
protections.
game, I
Yeah,
think.
and again, just a super cool stat to see. Start.
I always
to play
like because I like the
into that
concept
little
of
bit
a
offense,
sort
you
of
know,
like,
I can build
you know, she says rally here, but a rally here kind of thing.
right with the. I jump in there. I am still a threat, but I'm also a little more.
Means
protected,
whatever
too.
you want to
So,
mean, Tess.
Really cool to continue. Next up, we're getting Unchained. We have Fenrir.
So Fenrir,
I do cast a lot of games.
and
and I am
really
freelance.
bursty jungler
so-
now can
Don't-
kind of
you
flex
know,
into
don't
the support
overread
role.
my
We see
words,
that
but-
commonly for him, just really reinforcing that. So Unchained is getting damage scaling not only from strength but also from protections. Ragnarok, support Fenrir again
Rally
getting
here is the name of the
protection
parent
scaling,
company.
especially
He's
physical
at the
protection
thing.
scaling on Ragnarok.
Gotcha, April.
We're just giving him more during that period of time. So just really enforcing if you want to play that supporty
God,
role.
I gotta
where
go to
you're
sleep
the
early
frontline,
on
you're the
Monday
Fenrir that
night,
wants to
man.
leap in, you want to bite someone for
I've
your
been up to
team,
like
carry them
5
over,
a.m.
and you're just
lately.
trying to be a disruption, Fenrir, but get that early pressure from your aggressive playstyle. You can now leverage that a lot more effectively, and as you build procs, you'll be rewarded for that. There's also a bug fix note, which is that he can no longer bite structures. Again, he couldn't do that.
What?
He couldn't do that in Smite 1. We
Yeah.
just are matching that. It's getting that.
What?
Just let him
Do
absolutely
that with his
chop
ulti.
through.
I didn't even realize.
Imagine
we
he
had an
takes
early version way
like a
earlier
tier
where he
2
could
tower
escalate
and
the
walks
fire giant and
away
roll,
like your dog found a
and-
stick.
The tower and carry it back to you like a big old stick.
Right?
Yeah, like Ajax said. Wavelength.
Man, you nerfed my boy. He wanted the stick, dude. It's super cool changes. Next up, we're going to the underworld. We have Hades to check in on.
Hades has also been pretty good, so we're getting to see some of that shift happening here too. So death from below, the base damage is just going to be decreasing from the 7270 to 70 to 250 with a little bit of an int scaling decrease as well. But similar to Athena and that confound change, silence and the fear scaling has been added to Shroud of Darkness with that same threshold mechanic. So 150 protections from items stacking up to 2 times. You can start gaining an increase in the duration.
How could
of
you
the
forget
silence
they
and
added
fear.
Hades? Hades
Pretty
is so
darn
good.
Devour Souls, also a bit of a base damage decrease there, but with the healing this time, you're going to see a little bit of scaling change there from your protections from items. So again, going a little bit tanky and
Ooh,
not
so
just
we're
full
locking in on
offense
solo
you're gonna see a
Hades,
little bit of
huh?
Decrease in playstyle there for the offense, but an increase in different parts of your playstyles with protections. And one last one there, Pillar of Agony. The ultimate as well is going to be gaining that physical and magical protections from.
super cool to see. It's been fun being able to with that Smite 2 change of being able to use an ability in your ult.
I haven't gotten to play much of the
it's
alpha
insane. I love
weekends.
it.
I'm not surprised Hades is popping off because that's just a fun. That's just
Because each
that's a
alpha
whole level
weekend,
of gameplay.
with the,
So next up,
the
somebody we
exception
touched
of
on a little
Alpha
bit earlier,
Weekend
Soul,
3,
getting,
there's
one
been a
notable
tournament to
change.
cast, you know?
And this one will actually go into the next character as well, Ymir. These Ymir and Soul are the two characters that have that kind of, they want to either be kind of more int bursty or have that more in-hand play style. But either way, you want your core damaging ability, in Soul's case Stellar Burst, to feel pretty good to use whatever route you go.
Yeah.
And so adding
Yeah.
strength scaling here just helps that be a more
Rightfully
consistent ability,
so.
a more
He was
consistent threat when you're
permabanned.
facing Soul and useful in both types of builds. And we think that's just going to feel good to Soul players in the same way that Ymir.
I like
more
that. That's a good
mixed
that's a good
Yeah.
idea from them, because that doesn't discourage
outside
the
of
hybrid
damage
style
changing.
as much.
Glacial Strike is also getting that strength scaling because again he is smacking the ground with that giant mallet. It feels very like strength focused, but the ice feels very int focused, and so getting that like extra strength scaling is just going to make that ability feel good in the more strength focused face punch Ymir play style.
Yeah,
So
and
good.
you may see like base damage decreases there, but also because he's gaining a new
Yes.
component of strength scaling, that's actually going to be making up.
And
for it.
everyone has strength for free for
Exactly.
their basic
Yeah.
attacks. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, they're getting that per level, so that more than makes up for it.
And he's got one more exciting tank change.
Yep, Shards of Ice. So we've decreased the damage floor that this ability does
Oh,
when
sheesh.
you are building.
That thing's
int.
gonna be popping
So
people.
if you're focused on making this hit as hard as possible, the more int you build, essentially the floor will increase.
That's a
with
really
quick
strong
fire,
change for Ymir.
making it so that if
D-Lo!
you're in a situation where you can only get a really quick charge
D-Lo!
off, it's still going to hurt more. As well as it now has damage scaling from protection.
A Ymir
well.
buff
so
is a
not only
D-Lo buff.
intelligence you build, but if you build tanky Ymir, you're the front line for your team. Your ult is going to hurt still because it is a giant AoE field with a giant explosion and giant buildup. It should always hurt. So getting that, regardless of what playstyle you go, is just going to feel nice for Ymir.
We had a lot of feedback from Alpha Weekend that tanks just weren't feeling impactful, so that's why you saw a lot of tank buffs today. And then a lot of other changes you saw today were designed around encouraging role flexibility.
Yeah.
You know, encouraging more play styles, adding those unique protection scalings, leveraging the strength in system. So really a lot of cool things that we could come together with just through balance.
Same,
within the
Tez.
Smite 2 system.
For sure. And something that I've been honestly one of the most excited about for Smite 2 is just how much we're leaning into role diversity with the way that items work, the way that gods can build any item now. That's always been one of my favorite things. I love the meme builds. I love seeing stuff like that. So seeing it become more accessible in certain ways is just, oh man, I'm excited. All right. So this next point's kind of big. So we're still talking gods. That's all the god balance we're talking about right now. You can see any additional that we didn't talk about on the patch notes. But this next spot is big. So it's just called God Polish is what we're calling
God
this section.
Polish.
But that envelops two small words.
Technically,
for what
there is no
envelops such
Smite
a
2
huge
pros,
category of work that was done since Alpha
by the way.
Weekend 4.
As
So, who wants to lead the
Vile
charge on
just
that?
said in the main
Vaughn,
Smite
you wanna
game
take a
Twitch
start?
chat.
On.
Yeah, I have to work on a lot of
The
this
next
stuff.
Smite
So,
2 Pro could
we
beat
had a
you.
major goal after the feedback of AW4,
Yeah.
where we had gods that just didn't feel like we were meeting the polish mark that we wanted to. There were things that felt missing,
Yeah.
things that didn't feel quite right, and so we looked at all that feedback and we create basically like a giant list of things that we wanted to address.
Okay.
And so a lot of these changes, it's going to be too difficult
True,
to go into
Tess.
all the detail.
You got
of
me
all
with the
this.
technicality.
I definitely suggest you read the notes and see all the stuff that's in there. But we had kind of either major global changes that we tried to do, or more character-specific ones. Some of the global
Chat
changes we
check-in,
did
chat
were
check-in.
we did audio passes
Ultimate
on
Key said, when
most
are
of
the
audio
Smite
sounds
2
in the game.
SPL
So
announcement?
Things like,
Hinduman said, when I feel
Susanoo
like
did
it.
his auto attacks, the slash was really, really loud. And it had the same sound that happened when you hit. And that actually made it really difficult to tell when you're auto-attacking. whether
When
or
I
not
feel
it's
like it.
connected. And we found that was a trend across
Soon,
a lot of the
TM,
abilities,
soon.
where Smite 1 kind of respected the hit a bit more. We were making them more equivalent, and so that made it really hard to understand combat. Things like that, or things like the auto-attack chain. When you finish an auto-attack chain in Smite 1, you almost always end in a grunt. In Smite 2, we were more randomly playing that grunt sound, and that actually made it really hard to understand if you were getting the final hit.
I remember when you found that, I was like, "That's amazing."
Yeah.
That is so
They
we
changed
had
the
things
camera
like,
angle for the
animation
back desk,
blend
and I
times
kinda
not
like
quite
it.
matching. So Odin, when he
I don't know if you
ulted,
guys noticed that.
he would actually
Usually
go a
when
lot
somebody was
higher
sitting
in
at that
the air
back desk,
because
it was super
if you
far
cancel
out,
that with an
but now
auto-attack,
it's
we want you to be able to
it's
do
a
that
nice
so it
view.
feels snappy.
Yeah.
He was really high up in the air, where in Smite 1 he doesn't do that because the blend times are different. So we have a lot of these global systems where that's going to affect a lot of gods, and we still have more work to do in that front. We didn't get every single character adjusted.
Somebody asked Hinduman, or somebody asked when the Smite 2 announcements were. Hinduman said, "When I feel like it," and then I was just saying this camera angle is different. That this is the back desk, where usually if you guys watch like Casual Fridays or stuff like that, this is a super far back angle and kind of like looking between people. But this new angle is pretty nice.
Back cancel someone. So a lot of those core systems also got updates. So that's like the kind of global level stuff. I definitely suggest.
I'm
read
telling you
that
though,
stuff
something with the
and see
camera's
kind of what's all
changed.
there,
I can't
because
quite
that's gonna affect basically
pinpoint
every
what it
character
is.
you play.
There's a lot of stuff there.
Is
I don't know if
Yeah.
it's the frame rate.
Now,
Or if it's a
going
new
into the
camera.
specific God sections, when we were talking about how we were going to present this, instead of going through every single thing, we felt it would be better to just kind of go through every single, like the actual count. So
But every change is written in the patch notes.
every change is written in the
Every
patch
change
notes.
is there.
But just to give you an idea, on her and these are not balance changes. These are things that we consider things that you're going to notice in your gameplay that's going to make your gameplay feel better or look better.
Or quality of life.
So
Quality of life.
quality of life polish adjustments. So on her got 8, Athena got 4, Ares got 7, Bellona got 14, Kurnos got 2, Chalk got 28, Fenrir got 5, Hades got 5, Hecate got 3, Kukulkan got 33, Sol got 5, Susano got 12, Thanatos got 8, Morgan got 3, Loki got 9, Neith got 2, Odin got 10, Ymir got 14. So overall, I don't actually know the count, but it's probably approaching
A lot of big
200
numbers.
individual things to make the gods feel better.
I was about to say, and because I wrote the notes for this, I wrote the word approximate on there because you go through, and technically, I think there are more bullet points than changes I listed. So like, there are probably more changes than that. Even it was insane.
Yeah, and just to give you the highlights, because we're not going into that, I just want to make sure that I want to call out some of the more major things that are going to be most noticeable. Ymir, Chalk, and Kukulkan got basically full VFX passes, kind of with a new standard in mind about how these VFX should be portrayed, what the quality level should be, how they should interact with combat clarity. So be on the lookouts for them. Loki and Thanatos and Sano got partial VFX passes, so these were more focused around individual abilities, so it's not a complete suite rework. If you want to get the most different example, Kukulkan especially had a big color scheme update, so that his wind feels unique to him, where it had a lot of different colors that made it hard to understand what really belonged to him. It now matches him a lot better. We also had specific god changes that I want to call out that weren't in our balance notes, but will affect your gameplay. So on her and Ymir, we had complaints about people saying the wall aiming where it snaps behind you was too far, it was too close. So like if you want to put the wall close up in front of you, it snapped behind you in a way that you didn't expect it to. You now have to aim really at your feet. It's not, so we tightened that range up. Ares, we significantly reduced the post fire and call to arms. It was too long, so if you
There's so
you just
much.
couldn't
This is
auto-attack
great.
a while after that.
There's so much
Fenrir now has
information.
haste in his ult, so that when he bites, he doesn't slow down. He also now properly drops his target with a little bit of forward velocity, so that's what lets you actually auto attack him
Right,
after you
nice.
drop him from the ult. Soul Stellar Burst timing has been adjusted, and VFX should now match the growth rate. It was actually had a small delay that was unintended. Susano had a lot of different things from AWE4 to now. So things like size hit areas were updated and fixed. Some functionality things about whether they were radial sweeps versus instant cones. The ult got a size increase. The ult now has the VFX now fills the whole area. So things.
These
that
are
we had a
all
lot
some of my
notes on
favorite
for from
changes.
AWE4 have
The
been fixed
clarity
in
was one
Susano.
thing that I
Morgan,
always was
one-
having some
one comment,
problems with.
Piece of feedback was that the A1, the first ability, if you're holding left click when the targeter is ready to fire, it should automatically fire. That is now there. And additionally, she also had a bug where she was unstealthing. So if you were stealthed and then you brought up your 2 and you're like, actually, I don't want a 2, you right clicked, you exited stealth. That has been fixed. Neith will now slide along the wall when she backflips, but doesn't go over wall. So in SMITE 2, if she backflips, she can actually go over walls. But if there's no safe location on the other side, she instead kind of goes towards the wall and slides along it. But she would get stuck, and so now she actually slides along it. So you're not gonna just kind of eat your whole backward
That's a big
motion.
change.
Dead stop. It's a big change.
That's a big
And
change.
Odin's Ring of
I got
Spear
stuck in a
and,
Phoenix
has
once.
a much lowered post fire, as does Gungnir's Might have a much lower post fire. You'd use those abilities and you couldn't auto attack for a while after that, and that just didn't feel good. So those have been adjusted. And those are the ones that stood out to me as I wanted to call attention to, but they are not the only ones in that list.
Yeah, exactly.
Long list.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Someone's gonna have a lot of fun going through and reading all those changes and seeing all the stuff there. But there's a lot of stuff there. A big shout out to the audio team, who did a major pass on a lot of this feedback. Big shout out to the VFX team, who did a lot of work to make all this stuff come together. Big shout out to the programming team, who identified these bugs and really worked to try and crush them. There's a lot of effort and focus on this patch to make God Polish a focus and intention that you guys would notice and feel going into the closed alpha. So definitely be on the lookout for all those changes. And if things don't still feel good to you, know that we're committed to changing this stuff and making it feel good.
And big shout outs to Pawn. He's been absolutely fantastic and kicking ass on all of these. I can't imagine how many of these would have just been lost.
I have so many Google Docs.
Dude, and shout out, so many cool changes. This is only minorly related, just the Neath thing. you know, Alpha Weekend 4, we got to play Arena. I brought my brother into Arena because, you know, I'm like, hey, come play this new game. Like, give me the feedback, you know? And the first thing he did was he left base, backflipped over the wall into the base, and said, I want you to thank whoever had this idea. Because he'd been wanting to do that. Big Neath player. He'd been wanting to do that for years. So he was like, Harrison, buy them a gift. Give them a basket. So,
Neath 2.
Neath 2. So, all right. We're still in God World, but we got some exciting new God stuff to talk about.
New God
And by
stuff.
New God stuff,
New
I mean
God
gods
stuff.
to SMITE 2. One of them is coming from SMITE 1. One of them is coming from the imagination of our creative people.
Imagination Land.
Yeah, well, lore and then imagination land. So either way, let's get into the new gods you can expect in the roster for closed Alpha 1 SMITE 2, starting with Jingwei popping in.
Oh, hey, fam. Oh, hey, fam.
Oh, hey, fam.
Oh, hey, fam.
So yeah, Jingwei is arriving in SMITE 2, and with some changes as well. A few new features, I think. Kind of christen her SMITE 2 kit.
Yeah, I mean, Clumsy, I figure you take the lead on
I
this
was just
section.
like, sure. You,
No,
sure?
this is your god. This is just as much your goddess now
our
than it's
conjoined
mine.
work. Yeah, I mean, Jingwei has been really interesting. I mean, we did the deep dives on her. We kind of showed her off a little bit, but yeah, she's coming new into CA1, and we're super excited to show off how we could bring Jingwei, you know, a really iconic god from SMITE 1 into SMITE 2, without, you know, we always will have this goal in SMITE 2, kind of just take the playstyle, distill it, and find ways that we can amplify it with kind of this +1 feature. With Jingwei, we didn't want to, you know, move the ball too far. We really explored some kind of crazy options, but the further we went,
A lot of people are
realized,
asking
like,
for
this isn't
Sun
Jingwei
Wukong
anymore.
to be
This isn't
rush
actually
added,
that fun.
'cause
It's not
Black
what
Myth
people-
Wukong,
players
I'm
would
guessing.
expect, and we wanted to make sure that we really found a way to balance those pieces of feedback. But we found some really cool and exciting things
That's what
on
I've
that
heard.
path as well. So some of the new features: Jingwei's Persistent Gust. So that's her first ability. It now has a secondary larger circle area. So this doesn't hit enemies, but it allows Jingwei to gain the buff that she would have normally gained from having to be self-CC'd and knocked up.
Yeah.
So we
Nice.
do have game if we want to.
Yeah, I was about to say,
Yeah.
let's dive into it. Yeah, we can show
It'll
it
be a
all.
lot easier
There
to
we
see.
go.
So you see that
Nice.
first ability is kind of
That's a good
double circle
change.
now. You've still got your normal Persistent Gust deployable at the center that'll knock up yourself, knock up enemies just as you would expect. But now
W
you can be
change.
in this larger area to gain that buff. You
Somebody
get the
check
buff
on
without-
Spirited Book's
having to
pulse.
CC yourself is a big change.
Yeah,
It's a
that
big
is
change.
So big.
Right.
That being said, using it in practice is a little bit difficult sometimes. If you want to use it at range, you need to
ability
get back in there, right? Like it's
icons
still
look
a
nice.
very. It's not just ubiquitously just good all the time. You need
Right.
to still position yourself well, especially in team fights. So your second ability, Explosive Balls. Honestly, this is the big one.
Right.
This is a pretty big deal.
Okay.
Well, there's another one too. But your Explosive Balls actually gains charges per rank. So at the first rank of your ability, you only get one charge. One charge still comprises of 3 ammo shots, just like it does in SMITE 1. But as you rank that ability up, you can go to 2 ability charges and then finally 3 ability charges.
Oh.
That means if you're using them and you have all 3 ability
That's
charges,
fucking
you can
sick.
technically gain 9 explosive ball shots all back to back. Or just like you can in SMITE 1, you can actually use this ability, put it on cooldown, and accumulate a charge back during that time. So you can get even more than that 9.
Machine
But not
gun
stopping there. There's
Jingwei.
one thing that we didn't even run.
Holy.
That are technically there too. So the third ability, I'm going to come back to that. Don't worry, it's a small segue.
All right.
The third ability, Agility. The dash now actually has a little bit of a turning to it. So you can now, whether you're in the air or doing it from the ground, getting a little bit of turn left or right.
Air
That looks
control.
Air
smooth.
control, you can kind of turn corners around that. You can do this from other gods' displacement effects as well. But it also gives you an ability charge for your second ability too.
Oh, that's awesome.
So multiple ways
Well,
of playing
is that
around
only if you fire it off of the Persistent Gust, or every time you fire
every time you fire it.
So every
On
time you
fire.
fire
You can
it,
just
you're
quick fire it.
essentially like queuing up. So we kind of made that like secret load reload mechanic that Jingwei had. We made it a little bit more intentional and more present throughout the kit. And yeah, you can get those full 9 explosive bolts, but you need to fire
That's really
1,
cool.
2, 3 ability activate.
Yes.
1, 2, 3.
Exactly.
You can't just go spam, spam, spam and queue up 9 ammo.
Yeah,
Just like
have
in
to-
SMITE 1,
So if you
it's
pre-charge, you could
Yeah,
fire
right
12.
there I spent 2 of my charges. I had 1 in the bank, and then I used my 2, and I just went to 3. I didn't get a 4th one.
She's got a new passive meter that shows the pips on the bottom are the ability
Ability
charges,
charges,
and the
yeah.
birds in the top are the current ammo.
Exactly.
So
I like the little
1,
hop
2,
she does
3,
when she
press
shoots.
2, 4, 5, 6. Press
That being said,
yeah.
there's obviously balance knobs and then like tweaks here and there. The ability still gains crit over time, but this physical power scaling is a little bit lowered based on the ranks to kind of make up for the ability changes too. That being said, we're really excited for people to check it out. But that's not it, because we've got one more a pretty cool change for her ultimate actually. Airstrike, well, it does
There
exactly what you
goes
expect, where
my
Jingwei
hero.
charges up, goes up into the air, and fires forwards, and has her hover time, and then she can land. But if you time out the ultimate hover time, wait for it.
Just chill.
Actually, go backwards and do the entire dash again.
Oh,
You
that's
get a
Hey, yo.
second alt.
a second strafe.
So you can fire this.
The passive
just like
meter
you
is very
always
nice.
have. You don't have to be disruptive. Like a lot of times people are just going to fire this, look for damage, and look to land right out the bat.
Yeah.
We didn't want to disrupt that. But now you have this whole extra element where you can mind game your opponent because they won't really know what you're going to do. This ability was getting really predictable in Smite 1. You can also just get more damage if you...
That's really
or
sick.
more immunity time by staying up there. People, hitting in that area is a little harder to hit because it's going to go back to where you came from, right? But there's an extra skill element for the Jingwei player. There's a lot of really cool stuff here.
Again, some small balance knobs there. You you can't go as far as you could if you're going from like the hover state to the landing state. So we know that Jingwei is also a very safe character. We didn't want to take that away from her, but we wanted to just make sure that we curtailed it. So like you're not gaining 60 feet, maybe you're gaining like 40 feet or something. In Smite 1 terms. So yeah, everything. I think we're pretty excited with these changes.
Yeah,
That's so cool,
breath
man.
of fresh air into Jingwei and coming into Smite.
Air, I get it. 'Cause you fly. All right, super cool, and I'm so excited to see Jingwei pop up. I mean,
That's a nice change. It's
legitimately,
not
every
overdone,
god
but
that
you know,
hits
it's
the
not like
Smite 2
too much, but I
roster,
think that's cool.
like getting to this point where like you see them live and in action, you see their kit displayed. It's
Big Mac
tingles you
boys,
every
and
time.
it's the
So excited.
IGN.
And now we're moving on to a new god. So this is the second brand new god to Smite 2. We're talking Mordred now. So I mean,
Should I just switch and use the abilities?
Yeah,
Sure.
we should do that. Just
not?
do it like we do before. Just do a kit showcase.
hey, there's
And
There's
Mordred.
Mordred in the game for the first time.
Yeah.
First we'll do a run cycle showcase.
True.
Yep.
'Cause you
Actually,
don't have
that's
the
not the command anymore.
No, it's supersonic.
Yeah, but then I'm super fast. We're gonna
Yeah, then it's not as
Mordred!
walk slow.
You can
Yeah.
turn it off now.
Wait, I can turn it off.
All the new tools we get to play with.
yeah,
I don't
I
even
know,
know
right?
all of them yet. It's,
Pon's still limited by his Smite 1 memory of having to cheat in the game during the patch show.
The sky is no longer the limit. There's space and stars out
Okay.
there.
all right, go.
All right, let's just
All
do
right,
like a
show
kit
off those
showcase.
abilities.
I love me a good kit showcase.
And I'll get enough energy.
Yeah, I was just like, you may need to. That
and-
might be bugged a little
Yeah,
bit.
so-
Oh, come to the switch class.
Yes, because of switch class. But then we got this. And then
Do you want to
I
use
will.
the character? Yeah, you got it.
Know the secret technique.
So now
There we
got
go.
the ultimate, because again,
ultimate
this is like
Ultimate.
some other character.
That's
We'll
so
go over all
cool.
these abilities in a second.
That shit's insane.
Oh man, his animations are insane. What?
I never
Yeah.
get tired of
Alright,
watching
so
that.
that was a lot of stuff. So I guess first and foremost, while we continue to look at the kit a little bit,
Like, imagine from a
Mordred
casting
and
perspective, right? Because
interesting
I always
and
think about
God
characters
is
from that perspective.
So we talked
Imagine
about it a
like
little
we're
bit in
mid-team
early
fight,
videos,
and
I'll-
all of a
I'll
sudden a
echo
Mordred
some of
just
those segments,
fucking
but there was
bum
lot
rushes
many,
through a wall in mid
professors
lane
and
and takes
a lot
somebody
of,
up into the air
in,
and erases
you know,
them in the middle of the
rogue
team fight.
polls
That's gonna
on
be
social
so
media.
freaking cool.
Always, go off those, but specifically for this god, we did want to look for a character like that. So we saw he was topping a lot of those polls, more than we honestly thought. So we started to consider him a little more seriously, and then we also were looking for someone to kind of contrast Hecate as one of the first gods. So we were looking for someone a little bit more just evil and angry and mean, and we were also looking for someone melee and physical.
Yeah.
And so Mordred started to stack up in a lot of ways that worked out like that. And then as we started brainstorming the kit and
Oh
the
boy,
planning,
it's
we
gonna look mean.
really felt like he had some really cool opportunities for abilities that really showcased Smite.
If
2 and
imagine
felt
a
like stuff
Deathwalker
that we
5-man ult
normally
with
wouldn't do.
Mordred ult.
So all those things came together to just got Mordred.
Need to send an
officially on the
ambulance to
calendar.
my house.
Nice. So I mean, yeah, we've seen all of his kit now. We've seen it in action, but let's talk about what we're seeing. So first up, I know that his basic attacks, because of his two swords, are a little special. What's going on?
Yeah. So one really last caveat on that point is Mordred. There's going to be some expectations. Right? He is the antagonist to the story. He's the rival to King Arthur, and
Yeah.
we really wanted to make sure that. One, we found a unique playstyle for him and what he's going to be in Smite 2. But two, we had homages to the Arthurian lore. We had homage to King Arthur as well. We thought that would be really key to who Mordred would be.
Of course.
So
Two
going back into
Deathwalkers,
kit,
one
like you
hitting
were
a
saying, so yeah,
5-man tier
in-
fearless,
in
and the other hitting a
Smite 2, in
5-man
Mordred,
Mordred ultimate.
You to Smite 2, just like it's weird.
That's
to finally
why
see
you,
him out there.
Right.
We didn't want to just go
Yo,
with like
when you're
traditional
casting, you can get
Excalibur's
excited
contrast,
as you
right? We
possibly
split
can. You can hit
into
that
two.
10 on a
Mordred
scale,
is gonna be
but
wielding two longer than normal,
sure, there was
hefty
one
swords.
pentakill, but
one
what are you going to do as a caster if there's 2 pentakills? What then?
actually was in one of the stories was a gift from Guinevere.
Okay.
So for Mordred, he's going to be playing around. He's got a lot of different themes going on, but one of them is the split between strength and intelligence, something that we haven't talked about a lot today,
Yeah.
but we want to play with in SMITE 2. We want to play with specifically with Mordred. He's got a 4-hit basic attack chain, and he attacks and he swings well, not quite alternating, but between the two swords. Morning, his right-hand sword, Clarent, and then Morning. That's actually going to be pretty important for his playstyle. One, because he's got a chain swing time of 1.75, 0.75, and 1. So he's actually has faster swings on Clarent. But two, is because the different swords have different scaling. Morning has the traditional strength heavy scaling of 100% strength and 20% int, but Clarent actually has a pretty heavy reverse where it does 100% int scaling and 60% strength. So that's 40% less strength than normal, but 80% more intelligence.
Yeah.
So you really can play an in-hand intelligence Mordred kind of emphasized build.
That's
That's
really cool.
just kind of one component. So long story short, for Mordred, he is kind of a hybrid frontliner. We're expected to see playstyles of both strength or int, but more likely hybrid itemizing.
Yeah, which is awesome because again, you get to utilize that whole item pool and just figure out where your best build is and where your comfort zone. So let's keep moving down the list. Let's
This
move
is
on
so
to the
cool.
passives.
Yeah.
What passive are we
So
looking at?
Mordred's passive is kind of split into two parts. One is just really describing his energy and resource-based mechanism, and this is the biggest mirror to King Arthur. He builds his own energy. So Wrath of the Forsaken, the name of his passive, he gains his own energy resource called Wrath. You can see that in the passive meter, and based on that, just like King Arthur, he gains 2 different ultimates based on 40 and 80 Wrath. So at 40 Wrath, he'll gain access to his first ultimate, and at 80 Wrath, he'll gain access to his second, and it'll drain that amount of Wrath respectively.
Okay, that's
he
cool.
gains Wrath just by attacking enemies, both minions or enemy gods with base attacks.
Okay, cool.
I actually haven't had to turn off character test sheet.
Oh, no, you're just gonna go negative if you want.
Oh, just go negative.
Yeah, so same command, but instead of 100, just do like. Yeah.
Nice.
So that's the description of the resource and kind of how you gain access to the ultimate. The actual passive is what Pawn's doing over here.
The dash.
It's called Shoulder Charge. It's something that we wanted to play around with. You know, we played it with Hecate. We talked about that interact feature, and we wanted to do that, but different and for Mordred. So Mordred,
This
if
is
you use
cool.
an ability, any sort of attack or a basic attack, you actually have a small window where you can use that interact button to shoulder charge and quick hit an enemy. So with his base kit, you have your first, second, third, fourth, fifth abilities and your shoulder charge. I mean, that's the way we got to do it.
And I'm cheating with cooldowns. He doesn't do this that often.
Yes, your shoulder charge passive
It has a
active ability
traditional ability
has a
cooldown.
normal ability cooldown that does scale per level.
But
You hit that jump button at the
Yeah.
right time, and you'll do this shoulder charge instead.
that is
Exactly.
and y'all just can't stop being creative with ways to use this. All right.
It does go through enemy minions, stopping on the first enemy god, knocking them up. Can't knock up multiple enemy gods, but it's really good. It's short range,
to know.
but you know we're really expecting to see you weaving this in combat.
Oh, for sure.
It's
I
not
can
really
see this
gain for-
part of lane dueling too, especially if you're
Exactly.
playing out the solo lane. You just cut right through the minion wave to start your engage, catch them off guard because they didn't think.
I like that. I like using the interact key for more interesting
So I
stuff.
guess let's move on to.
I can see him
his
being
first
super
ability.
fascinating. I know they said frontline, but like I'm so
Ghostrike's
interested in what he could
versatility,
do in the jungle.
A lot more simple, but it's got some fun nuance. I feel like I say that every time when I'm describing gods. But it's got some nuances going on. So the first thing he does is he swipes in a cone, and then he attacks down in a line. So that's doing damage on both strikes. Now, for fun little nuances is that there's a bonus effect on that line strike. So if you do this normally, you can see right there, it's kind of that more darker red tinge, and you'll be doing bonus damage. Bonus damage actually scaling off of your protections. Playing around with that, like we said kind of earlier with the different gods. Now the other thing is, like I said, we do expect you to be thinking about your base attacks a little bit more. So if your next attack in your chain is going to be off of Clarent instead of Morning, because you default off of Morning, then you can see the icon actually change on the bottom, and the next time you fire Cruel Strikes, you'll do a more orange tint. The damage on the strikes themselves is the same, but the bonus effect is different. The bonus effect is self-healing.
Go away.
Scaling off of protections.
So cool too that you have.
Sorry about that.
A weapon selection
You checked your
system
PC.
into that
It wasn't
ability
you, it
by
was
just
me.
Layering it in with your very, very nice.
So by default, if you are in-hand canceling, or if you just
I'm
use
super
this
fascinated by
ability
Mordred. I'm sorry I'm not
normally,
talking a lot. I'm
you'll be
just
doing that
locked in.
bonus
This
attack.
I
You
really
attack
like how
one
this kid
time with
looks.
your base attacks, or twice.
I know some people in the
technically,
playtest have been
healing.
saying
Or
that
if you're in the
he
middle of
feels
an
like
attack
a
chain
bit
'cause you're going
generic,
attacks
and
with
like I can
crazy builds,
see
you're gonna
what
have to
you're
rely a
saying,
little
but
bit
I don't
more
know. To me,
on
this looks
visual
cool.
sound cues and as well as the ability change.
Like if he came out a
Or-
year ago in
yes,
SMITE
or
1 in
complete
this
guess,
same
yeah,
exact
you know what,
state,
it's a
people
bonus
would have
effect.
said he
It'll
was
be
a
good.
fucking
Yeah,
It'll be
amazing
fine.
character.
You're hitting them
so.
either way.
But both those mechanics, the passive charge and the AO1, one have very
He's gonna
like,
play
high
so
skill
smooth,
ceiling
I think.
in-hand cancel type implications for really doing
I'm
that very
I'm excited to
specific
see what
timings in
the
right
shoulder
order,
charge can
getting
bring.
the proper effect you need for the proper situation, or to interrupt your opponent. Really like making him a god who can really outplay people in the solo lane.
Yeah.
It's a big goal.
Well, and I love too that like so far everything I've seen is approachable. I don't feel like I have to be a super high skill level character to pick up this or to
Right.
yeah, to pick up this character. But when you start to learn how to play Mordred, there are all these things that you can refine, and the skill
Absolutely.
ceiling is just
I think the
Excuse
goal
me.
definitely there is approachable with a high skill ceiling.
yeah.
That being said, AJ kind of touched upon it. You know, he was kind of designed to be a more a frontliner. We expected to see him kind of in the solo lane, but I think he absolutely has a kit. And if you want to go aggressive, it wouldn't be far fetched at all to see him kind of
I'm
in
playing him
the
in the
solo lane.
jungle.
Or even I've seen him.
I really
want
want to see him in the jungle.
Yeah.
Surprisingly enough, because he's got some utility.
I think it's how I'm gonna play him.
But speaking about that aggressive nature, let's go on to his second ability, Blood
do it.
Rage.
Yeah, I was getting ready for it.
I saw you throwing them. Like, you know what?
Yeah.
We'll self throw.
Blood
Okay,
Rage.
second ability, Blood Rage. Yeah, I wanted something
You have to say it
angsty
like, you have to
there.
say it like that.
Blood Rage. So Mordred's second ability, he kind of exclaims and yells in anger around him, dealing
Me
damage
too.
to enemies around him. Simple as that, dealing a hybrid of strength and intelligence, because we didn't talk about that, but the second ability does a hybrid of strength and intelligence. The first ability is actually just pure strength scaling.
Okay.
Then he does the AoE damage around him. He also gets a buff of attack speed and movement speed.
All right.
That being said, while he has this buff active, every basic attack he does in an enemy will actually, and I think this got corrected at some point, so it might be wrong on the patch notes, but you actually reduce the enemy's protections, both
Nice.
physical and magical,
Ooh.
and gain that stack.
That's
of
a,
protection
that could be
yourself. So
why
you
people are playing him
physical and
support,
magical
because
protections
if
whenever you hit enemies with
like
your base stack
supports
while the
are
two
able to
buffs
go that
active
more
and
simple
draining from
route
the enemy.
of what they're
Cross
building to
steal,
kind of counter
during the
different
duration.
damage. If you have
Exactly.
somebody who's
And
able
can
to
I see
reduce
one more
protections of
Blood Rage real
both, that's a
quick?
really
Like,
useful
Blood
tool.
Rage on the ground too. There's like an inscription that it leaves on the ground. That is so
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Effects are
Yeah, it, like,
crazy,
fades
making
out.
these look really awesome.
It's sick.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, all right, I love that. So let's keep going then. We have ability
Yeah.
3. We have Severing Slice.
Ability 3 is Severing Slice. A little bit more simple, I think, hopefully. It's a it's a projectile, but it's kind of like it's got a smaller, thinner kind of sweet spot in it. So a little bit different than the normal rectangle
yeah.
projectiles you might see. And
Oh,
the
okay.
effects here, kicking ass. So hitting the projectiles just does damage in a slow.
Yeah.
That being said, if you get hit by the center, I don't know how we would show this off, actually. You actually...
Bots orbit.
I tried bots orbit. They don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They're scared of Mordred.
Okay,
That's
okay,
so true.
okay.
So if you hit an enemy with the center, an enemy god specifically, you will
They
bleed them.
bleed.
Bleeding them will actually make them take more damage over time as
That's
they
cool.
move.
Oh.
So the more they move,
Classic
the
bleeding
more if they
mechanic.
leap, if they do anything with a movement based on it, they will actually suffer increased damage for every like X amount of units that they move.
Oof.
Got it. You
That's
get
no
the
fun.
effect,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get this bleed on you. It's not the longest duration, but be careful. Tread
Yeah.
tread
When
lightly.
you hit somebody you're chasing, or like I said, if you're bullying somebody in lane and they're trying to back off and you hit them with that as they're running back to tower,
Yep.
their options are stand still and you chase them down, or run away and take more damage, and all right, now I have to back anyway.
Yep. On non-god enemies like just lane minions or jungle buffs, they will.
Yeah,
just
it's cool
take
that
normal
it's not
dot
just
damage.
simple like,
Okay.
oh, he's bleeding now.
And talking about the scaling again, the projectile itself does base and scales off of intelligence, while the bleed or the dot scales off of strength.
Yeah, like
Well,
like
yeah, the
Suku
scalings are
Caltrops.
really cool. The build diversity for him is insane. But now we've made it to numero 4. We have the ultimate here. We have Heart Slash. Let's get into
Yeah,
both of
Heart
those.
Slash.
Two of them. It's Heart Slash.
Believe me,
Slash.
I'm trying to find adjectives like slice and
Heart
all these
Slash
different
as an ult is
mechanics
pretty
and
cool.
verbs.
Been used on a god ability
That's
before.
definitely one I'll say.
Or item.
Yeah, that has been impressive.
Oh, I mean,
Don't say every
this
ability name
combination wasn't there as well. But Heart Slash.
As a
Heart Slash.
preference
Heart Slash
thing for
active
casting,
accessible at
but
40
like
rad,
Heart Slash
will
is
deal
pretty
damage,
sick.
To enemies in front of you in a line. If you hit an enemy god, any enemy god, including multiples, they're rooted and crippled, and you start channeling for a short period of time. During that time, they take constant damage, and you gain healing. And also, if you hit an enemy god, you also get a shield effect.
The biggest pursue of the week. Ooh.
So this is a really good way of locking people down. Again, a slight homage to King Arthur's AF4. Honestly, both the ultimate abilities are homages to King Arthur's as well. So he's kind of got the CC effect.
Pursue
but
the
he's
weak
really
is pretty
pulling
sick,
their
too.
life force during this time.
Yeah. Again, it's that dark
There's
version.
a lot of clever ways
You
you
gotta
can work
put
that into a
yourself
fight.
at risk a little bit, but to lock down someone a little longer.
Yep. You can cancel this ability early, or if the enemy god themselves is CC immunity or breaks out of that route, they'll end this ability early too.
That's so crazy.
Oh, and you can hit AoE too.
Yeah, we changed that. We were
Yeah.
like,
Oh.
we gotta
This was
amp
only
this up.
single
This is
target
Damn.
for a while.
surprise.
Damn.
Ares combo.
This was
That's
only
crazy.
Single hit on the first enemy god, and then you were like, you know what? We need to amp this
I
up. a
see.
little bit.
Get the Ares.
Good thing I was so busy on those items.
Yeah, get the Ares pull, get the Zeus ult, and get that, and that's a team wipe. All right.
Yep. And then finally,
Ult
I'm not
part
joking this
2.
time. Ult part 2, as we saw a little bit earlier. So yeah, this is Pursue the Weak. At 80 Wrath, Mordred gains access to this ability, and he can just go through the world.
That's
he's
so
a
sick.
hunter, and he's chasing down
That's
his prey.
so sick.
He can dash for, I think, about 5 seconds through all wall collision. And we did a lot of new tech. So there are some things to be seen there, and we talked about in the deep dive video, and I want to clarify here. We did change things within the last few weeks to kind of help performance actually with Mordred and with this ultimate ability. So the calling tech is not as perfect as we want it to be. Usually
That's
you
so
can see in
sick.
the post-process area in the center, you would call away all rocks, all materials. And you can see it happening in some places. In some places it's not as perfect as we want it to be. So that's something we are going to be sharpening up. So
Yeah,
I
we
really
recently
wanted
had to basically redo.
you can see the floor there. That
Yeah.
that
The-
you shouldn't be able
all
to
the
see.
stuff that we did for making sure Conquest worked really well. There are some
Yes.
things that like
had some
I mean,
knock
that's
on it.
understandable. That's
we
a
will
pretty
be doing
fucking
those.
crazy ult.
Everybody's
So.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's honestly, yeah, that's exactly what's happening. So you go through enemy minions, you stop on the first.
You can hit
enemy
the
god.
jungle camps.
Yep,
too.
you can.
Dash right through 'em.
You stop on the first enemy god hits, and in that area around him.
Out of range.
Yep, you'll hit all enemy gods, launch them up into the air. Do
It's funny you say that
heavy
because I was
strikes, and then knock them back.
yes.
So aesthetic.
that's what I'll
Like,
say,
the
Tess.
animation for
Yes.
that is just incredible. Like,
Just a
lot of
fucking,
this
it's like
actually
Sonic the
involves
Hedgehog fucking running out of
throwing
nowhere.
his body into these slashes,
But
whether
yes.
it's through spins or flips, and just seeing all of those play out and how clean.
It's like a Mercury ultimate you can
Again,
see
just a
coming.
testament
That's
to the
what I'll
amount of
say.
work that's gone into
It's
already.
Trying to get those dual swords. You know?
Yeah,
biggest
right.
swords.
Should
animation.
have brought Parashu and Dreamer.
Oh, I'm doing that.
Oh,
And while we're running around this map, we are still seeing some more really nice Conquest art changes that we didn't show before. So I wanted to shout out to those. To the environment team spent so much effort on this patch. So you notice that Pond drove over to the Fire Giant change. There was a lot of changes in the lighting and the floor texture there for better clarity, better contrast. Previously, there was a lot of reflections going on there that made it hard to see what was going on. Same changes happened at the Gold Fury side. And Pond was showing it off a little bit. The grass
Somebody
tech.
in
Can you show
Smite
it off
Game
just real
Chat
quick,
said,
Pond?
I
When
can't
you
wait for
bring your
Kleena
target
to be
around,
sitting in a wall and then all of a sudden be like, bro, what the fuck? Knock.
And that's so you can more clearly see, like, if you had the grass clipping through all that, you might not see the target area very clearly.
Exactly. Wow.
So that is a feature we have as well. There's the new Gold Fury floor. It's a lot more clear and
Yeah,
consistent.
and
than
I know
what we had
that-
before.
I literally saw someone
Lighting.
working
That's
on
so
this floor
funny.
material, so I know that this is also a work in progress. But
Nice.
yeah, they're still all working.
Yeah, there might be some small cleanup issues still to be done, but we made a lot of changes over the last few weeks, and we just got those out. So as we're wrapping up our in-game segment here,
That's
with Mordred,
sick.
took that opportunity. Do we have anything else we want to shout out on Mordred?
Yeah, that's what I
Just
was
a
about to
shout
ask.
out to the teams that worked on. He really was, as always,
they're
a
super
massive labor
mega
of love. The
size. Do it
animation
again.
effects, art.
That would be really
audio,
cool if Kleena gets
programming.
caught.
Oh my god.
What a unique
ol'
counter situation.
Just shout out kudos to all the teams.
Oh, man.
2A program.
Vamana is absolutely
gosh.
riding right now.
Dude, true. Just take a seat, big baby.
So wait,
and I know
will
there were
Big
probably
Baby get
questions. If you
Ultra
do
Big Baby?
And the 5 seconds duration ultimate while you're in a wall, it will wait it out until you.
Yeah, that's what happened when I fell short. Is I actually had timed out in the wall, so the second I left the wall,
Yep.
It'll just
I-
let you finish charging
you
out.
yeah. So I finished,
There,
and then
you
Oh.
right immediately afterwards.
you don't get stuck in the wall.
Someone will probably find a way to get
Unless-
stuck in the wall. Just go
Yeah,
ahead. And
That's
fill out
kind
that
of
part.
tech,
Someone
actually.
perfectly run in circles.
There-
If you find
Please
the
help
right
us find
wall, you kind of
additional
get a little bit
issues.
of
I'm sure
extra
you will, because
distance.
I know that there's going to be some. I think we had one.
There's
about-
some known issues.
Like
I
right here,
think,
watch.
You can Mordred ulti another.
You get a
Mordred
little bit
who's
of extra
ulting,
distance,
and if they
technically
get hit
speaking.
inside of a wall, funky stuff.
That's kind of
So,
interesting
Oh,
tech.
that makes sense.
As always, I
You might
trust
see
the
people make
community
plays
will
As
do
soon
like
as
it.
we
that.
go live, the Mordred mirror every game, it's gonna happen a
Yeah,
lot.
something
more.
funny is going to
It's,
happen.
it's gonna be. It's always fun. We learn about it. We fix it. We laugh about it. All right, so cool. That's it for Mordred.
What does that
Again,
mean for the
second brand new
exterior
god to
walls,
Smite 2,
then?
And something you can look forward to.
He can't get stuck in
playtesting and
walls.
inevitably finding ways
But does
to
that mean
both
I could
make
just
you
go
more
around the
powerful
fucking
and break
side of the map
somehow,
and
next Tuesday? 100%. Again, we love it. I love some of the bugs we've seen are so funny. But let's keep going. We still
Yep.
have more to talk about. So in the realm of gods, let's talk about what gods are going to be available to players as we get into 24/7.
Yes, we just have some general god planning and function
Perfect.
announcements to do now. So first of all is the god unlock status. So throughout the closed alpha phases, so starting with this patch CA1, the 24/7 patch Tuesday, all gods will be available for all players via the free rotation system. So
Okay.
even if, and this will be even if you bought the Founders Pack that gets you all gods forever, that's going to be applied later. Effectively, during this closed alpha, we wanted people to have more access to more gods, so we're going to have those all available, except for the most recent gods that launched in the most recent update. So for this update, everyone will have access to all gods except Mordred and Jingwei. Mordred and Jingwei, to play, you'll either need to unlock those via the currencies and systems we're going to talk about in a second, or own a Founders.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the same rules through all of the what we're calling the closed alpha phase, which we don't really have. We haven't shared specific timelines on how that's going to go or when that's going to change, but for the foreseeable future, that's the way it's going to be. And you'll notice when you go to the god page, you look at the gods in the UI, you'll see this little like clock icon on all of them. That's effectively the early implementation of the free rotation system we'll have in the future. So all of the gods are
Or
on free
buy the
rotation
Founders
for
Pack.
everyone. So more gods playable to everyone in this time.
Shill.
Got the Founders Pack, that will still become valuable in the future when that's going to go away. And we're going to have a traditional God unlock system and a traditional 5-god rotation, but you will still have all gods forever.
Yeah, and again, worth noting, all of them were free to play except for the two that'll be the most recently released. So for this one, Jingwei and Mordred, but that's excluded for Founders Pack. So if you have any level of Founders Pack, you're always playing all the gods as soon as they come out forever. If you nabbed a free code or got free access to the game through other means that isn't a Founders Pack, those are the people who will, like the two most new gods will be, you'll have to unlock them manually or wait for the next.
This lets everybody play ranked.
Yeah.
Too, because if you didn't have if you didn't have enough gods, you'd have problems, right?
Yeah.
Or if we only had 5 gods on free rotation, you'd have to unlock a bunch before you could even play ranked. So there's a lot of advantages to it. You will be able to unlock gods
F.
with
said,
our
"Show
new,
Ajax socks."
premium currency
Chat.
diamonds, or with 100% legacy gems as
What
well.
are
So
they?
if you are in those situations, you'll be able to get them.
No problem.
So then the next, we have another.
It's definitely a
general
cat,
section,
but what's on
right?
its head?
Oh,
That's an ear. It's just a weird angle. I thought it had like an ice cream cone on its head.
Talk about, yeah.
Anyway,
So we want to
focusing
talk
in.
about
Lock
more
in.
about the god update
Yeah.
and the general update cycle.
Yeah,
This
just
is a
in
big
general.
announcement
Yeah, this one's huge.
that we kind of sandwiched here in the middle of the show, but we wanted to put it with the god section. So
Big
big
announcement.
announcement is that for the closed alpha period, our full update cycle is going to be every 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So no
Moving
more
into the cycle.
4 weeks and like bonus balance.
Yeah.
We're going to
Oh.
just do straight up 3-week updates.
Boom, there
So
it
that's
is.
going to be more.
Wow.
It's going to be more consistent.
That's
right?
really good.
So this is a
That's
really
crazy,
big update
actually.
today. Think of this like a new season long, right?
For
Holy
We've
shit.
been planning for months for a lot of the features that are in this update today.
Yeah.
We haven't even talked about some of the biggest ones. We had a huge amounts of community feedback, and work that went into this. So
That's
think of this
actually
like
that's
a new
crazy.
season.
Yeah.
But our next patches are going to get a little more lean and more fast and more consistent, though. So you're not going to see these like big spikes as much until some future big season
Yeah.
type things we're
We'll-
planning.
we'll get to that in the
You're going to get these consistent 3-week patches. So let's see. We've done a lot in this patch because we had 5 weeks also as well.
Yeah, and that was one of the areas that was really worth highlighting is that we had 5 weeks to work on a lot of this feedback we've gotten through all the alpha weekends and for all the stuff. And 5 weeks is, it both felt like an eternity, or like between putting out new things, but it also passed in the blink of an eye. Like so
Oh my
much
god!
work
Well, for
going
us it did.
on. Yeah, especially for y'all.
For y'all, it felt for a long
Yeah.
time. Probably for us, it felt like an absolute mad dash.
Yeah. So what we wanted to do was we wanted to bring the 3-week cycle in because one, it makes things a little more regular. Y'all can rely on the fact that every 3 weeks you're gonna have something new to try out. You're gonna see the feedback that you're giving us acted on in those 3-week cycles more reliably. And again, it also just gives us a chance to continue implementing new things
That's so
more
cool.
regularly so that we can get that
W change.
invaluable feedback from y'all. So it helps us.
As well, I just hope that the bigger feature ones that they
Yeah, I
mentioned
think
aren't
players are
like
just gonna be generally more
too
excited
far.
about it. The
but
bonus
still.
balance, and stuff we released in the middle of an update cycle had a hard time getting visibility on it. Like
Yeah.
even people who were excited about it, they would forget about it or they wouldn't see the announcements. So now just like a faster update cycle really just feels like a win-win for a lot of players and devs. So one key thing to note about that is gods. We are gonna be shipping 2 gods with every one of these 3-week updates. So that's a god every week and a half. At
What?
that pace, which is a very
That's
fast pace. I
crazy.
know there's a lot of discussion about how the god roster size.
2
is just a
gods
really
every
important
3
factor to a lot of
weeks?
people on their
That's
desire to play the
fucking
game. And
awesome.
We agree. So we are really, using this new update schedule to keep a very fast and consistent god update cycle.
And we're going to get into this in just a second, but when we talk about Ascension passes, I think this God cycle is so perfect when you see the way
That
Ascension
is
passes
fucking
look,
insane.
because theoretically you'll have 3 weeks to feel out the new, the new gods in Smite 2, climb those Ascension passes, start working on God Mastery and stuff, and then by the time that you're kind of getting to the higher levels of that, you have 2 new gods to try it with. So it's
I don't
a
think
really
people
cool cycle.
like
I'm excited
realize
to
how crazy that
explain a little
actually
more for you
is.
to Ascension.
So we will continue to be heavily player feedback driven in these
Oh, yeah.
update cycles.
Oh, yeah.
We have a couple bigger features that we're planning for further out and for specific release launches, but outside of that, we'll be doing a lot of player feedback driven changes. So keep that going just like we were in the previous patches, and I'm excited to do this fast schedule. I think people are going to be just excited to play Smite more frequently, which is going to be really great.
Yeah, it's crazy how much this feels, because I mean, I don't want to. I'm losing my thoughts up here. I'm the type of person that respects things that I think are important, and I have respected this update show and next Tuesday as like the Super Bowl of this year for me, because we're starting 24/7, and when Smite original started 24/7, that was like 10 or more years ago, right? And they flipped the switch, and it's become a thing. It's become this beautiful 10-year-long adventure. And so to think that next Tuesday we are kicking off what will hopefully be, and what we all dream will be, another incredible, hopefully 10-year adventure into Smite 2, I can't stress how important that feels to me, and I know a lot of people around here. And the fact that it's only the beginning. Like, we're literally passing what feels like a starting line into infinite growth, hopefully moving forward.
One more note on gods before we get into our
Please.
player behavior
I'm
stuff
ready.
and go off script. So we're going to continue to try to add new things to all of the gods from Smite 1, like we demoed today on Jingwei. We're going to try to keep that up. Some gods will get more than others, right? Like, not all gods are created equally. A lot of the gods we're focused on designing first and foremost are already very successful gods, so those don't always feel like they need as much change, whereas when we get to some of the more controversial gods down the road, there might be more changes, right?
I wonder who you could be mentioning.
We're all sweating.
It's happened to all three of us, have our own
your guess
our
in
own
chat
demons
now.
with that sentence.
Wow, do you
But,
see their faces when they said
that's
that?
just something to keep in mind. We're always wanting to keep adding more. And even though we're doing this schedule of fast release cadence, that does not affect their total development time. We are staggering all of these gods many, many months in advance, and we have more.
Please listen to that
designers than
sentence
ever,
and tell people that
and
sentence,
more,
by the way.
Dev team dedicated to
I know
that
I say that
process.
a
So
lot myself.
Each god is still getting a full
But, like,
6-month arc. We're just staggering many of them
That-
back to back and splitting the load of designing gods across me, Pawn,
It's the
Clumsy,
truth.
Aggro, Ro, Lermy. We have Sam and Forrest that are joining the team, and Austin also supporting on that. So we have more god designers than we've ever had.
Yeah,
And
it's
the new
dream
engine
team
enables us
material.
all to be in the tools working on those gods consistently. So every god is going to get new features, some more than others. Every god is going to get the love and time it deserves. And every god is going to get the Pon Polish Pass, just in case
That's 4
we miss anything. And every god is going to get that player feedback driven Polish Pass as well.
Yeah.
So
And I think it's worth noting there too that the 3-week cycle did not come about randomly because we thought, oh, this will be nice. Like AJ said, this was something where we looked at what are we able to do, like what's the time frame that makes the most sense for us to still deliver these amazing, fully fleshed out things. And so it was ton of thought went into this. It wasn't just like, yeah, 3 weeks sounds good. It was 2-3 months of meetings and decision making and overviewing the process and refining the process and then saying this is going to be good. So
okay, we can move on to the next section.
Let's
Thank
keep
you,
moving.
everyone.
we still have new stuff to talk about. So this section we're calling UI/improvements, and we're starting with some of our player behavior features that'll be live with.
Yeah, so this is just kind of like a general announcement, which a lot of people have been asking about. So obviously, player behavior and keeping everybody happy and having
Report
button. Just keep sportsmanlike contact in the game. It's an important factor.
Let's
for us. So we have
go!
some initial features in the game ready to go for that, and then obviously this is going to be a priority for us, and we're going to keep growing it over time. So,
Dude, this
report
guy
player
just spamming about
is an
Arachne.
option
Like,
in Smite
where's this
2.
Arachne love coming
You
from?
can access this through the scorecard, the tab screen, at any time during the game. So now you can report people anytime you want during a match.
Yeah.
In Smite 2, you can just pull this up, hit report right now, so you don't forget at the end of the match. A lot of people sometimes forget that type of thing. So if something happens, pull it up and do a report right now. However, we do not have
the
some of
biggest
these
thing-
out of game like front end stuff, so you won't be
The
able to
biggest thing I think that you missed, Tess, is
Other than-
updates every 3 weeks,
as far as the
and
general
every
policy for
3
reporting,
weeks
it's
there
all
will be 2 new gods released.
actually we kind of uniform.
And those gods are not being rushed. They have a 6-month development cycle on
Okay.
gods. They're just staggering the release. So while it's 3 weeks from the player perspective, they're getting the full work other gods have gotten to.
Any sort of hacking of any sort, report those. Any sort of slurs or toxic chat, report those,
Yeah.
right? Our policies are generally the same towards that. Those things will be reviewed as soon as possible, and punishments will be handed out as needed. The other features we have in the game already for you is mute options. So you can click a player's name in the lobby or during the game to access the various mute options. You can mute their voice chat, you can mute their VGS, you can mute their pings, or you can mute all of it.
Nice.
Nice.
I don't even think we had those specific of mutes in Smite 1, so you can now mute those various different things.
Yeah.
We also have deserter penalty. So if you dodge a lobby,
Deserter!
in the game, you will get a deserter penalty and won't be able to queue up.
Yeah, so all just super good stuff to have, and like you said, to maintain that level of player sportsmanship that we're looking for, because Smite is at its core, it's a game, and even if it's a competitive game, the point is.
I'm a
to have
loose
fun.
cannon.
So
I'd be
we
saying
really
things
promote the
like
players that are there to do that,
Ymir
and,
is
slap on the wrist
great.
for those of you who don't, troublemakers. So let's keep moving. We have additional.
Ho
things to
Yi is
talk
the
about
best hunter
outside
in the
of
game.
Player behavior. We have some updates, some accolade updates, is what this is called.
Yep, the accolade system. So that's the big pop-ups that happen on the top
Mhm.
of your screen when you do an achievement or kill a god.
Yeah.
We've updated the sound effects for killing a god, so that feels more impactful. We've added the announcer voiceover for an enemy has been slain in all of the similar lines. Enemy has been, an ally has been slain. You've been slain. You've slain. Your enemies, whatever.
Yeah.
All of those versions. Those will only play if the kill does not have a multi-kill or a killing spree. That'll get played instead. We've also added voice lines for minions have spawned, your tower is under attack, Phoenix is under attack, Titan is under attack. And we have also added the gold particle effects bursts for killing minions, killing gods, and killing objectives, where you kill a god, the gold, like in Smite 1, there'll be a gold explosion at the place of their body, and the gold particle effects and audio effects that fly back to you.
Yeah.
That combining with the accolades and the audio, further solidifying that you've killed a god successfully, really making it feel good and really improving the combat clarity.
Yeah, a lot of good player feedback for that.
Do we have capacity to go in game, Pawn? Are you in a match right now?
I am in a match right
Okay.
now.
So the next two, we're going to go to the game. We can show Pawn if you can toggle onto the item short description mode in the item store.
How do
So
I
you have to
do
go to the settings.
Live.
HUD editor. HUD
Yeah,
editor.
Played around with this
UI. I
thing.
Spoiler.
believe. So then
Talked
the
about.
so you have a variety.
I don't know if that's
we're
in
gonna talk
ours,
about
but
more
spoiler.
settings, but for now, the item store grid detail level, set that to not minimal, descriptive. There you go. So now you can save and hit I. Short description mode is back. This was like the default, what people are used to from Smite 1. So you can toggle this mode back on. It shows the same
Nice.
number of items as you came before. You'd also see we added some dividers
Crit-
there when you're just
crit a
scrolling through, so
enemy,
you can
move
see
faster.
hybrid items, offensive items, defensive items.
Crit a
those types of
enemy.
things, so you get a little more clarity
Move
when you're scrolling through
faster.
the shop. And every item has a short description now. So if you don't want to read the whole stats, read the whole passive, this is a quick way to just get at a glance, what does the item do?
Nice.
That's funny as fuck.
And moving past that, the return of another beautiful feature, the K screen or slash ability screen, and its new function.
Yeah, so this screen is now going to work by pressing Control by default.
Yep.
Or the control screen.
Mordred,
Hey, brought back the K screen as a
Yeah.
control screen.
Yeah, true.
this is the screen that functioned like the K screen, functions like the K screen from Smite 1. So a lot of exciting things here. First of all, Mordred is one of the wordier gods, but we rewrote every god description in the game from the alpha weekends for better clarity, better spacing, and short. We want to have short descriptions that are clear and to the point.
I'm sure you can
So we
rebind
rewrote
it.
everything to fit in this screen for everyone, except for Wrath of the
You
Forsaken.
can probably
was
put
the
it on a
only
K
one we just
screen.
barely didn't get fitting in time.
Yeah.
So that's all been rewritten. You can now press this screen at any time to read your ability short descriptions, see your cooldown and mana costs, etc.
Or put it on
You
the
can also
on K.
use this
You know what I
ability
meant.
to level up, which Pawn, if you want to switch class and set yourself to like not level 1, but some level in like the middle, like level 5 or 10, and put a point in one of your items or one of your abilities already by pressing the button, pressing button 1 while you're pressing
yeah.
control.
Sure, I see what
Now you have another point.
Ooh.
You can see at a glance
That's so
so put a
I
point
know
in
about
2, 3, 4, and now you can at a glance, if you're trying to decide which one do I want to rank up next,
wow.
you can see which one gets the biggest damage boost. 50 to 90, 55
cool.
to 80.
That's really
85.
fucking
Okay, I'm gonna go
cool.
50 to 90 because that's the biggest just number.
That's gonna
right?
help
Boom.
new players
You
a
can do that type of
lot.
stuff. Really nice. Shows how much the cooldown goes down and the mana cost goes down. Shows how much the damage goes up. Shows a lot of the various variables. Anything that scales per rank should populate in that section.
That is
Yeah, and
really
very
fucking
very
cool.
to see that you can use it to level up as well, and that it doesn't block out the entire screen.
And this is especially important for console players because many console players
Is the
use a
highlight
sort of,
bug back? I see that in Smite game
D-pad
chat.
and then press the button to rank up as opposed to the double button presses.
Yeah.
and this is the method that you will do.
I didn't
that, and
see
it'll
the
be
item store
exact
get
same
highlighted.
buttons
Is that
as it
back?
was
Oh
on
no.
Super awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're always thinking of both our PC.
Very much so.
Never a player forgotten. So now we talked about this a second ago, but we have some more setting changes beyond just the being able to change the subscription mode of the Atom Store.
How are we
do.
feeling
now
so
have-
far,
we wanted
everybody?
To actually correct
I feel
ourselves from the
fantastic.
Inside show.
Hey,
I
Individual
feel
god casting
validated for
settings
being bullish
are
on
saves
Smite
per
2.
god. So you go to the gameplay section and you can set, if you change this off a use global setting to instant cast, it will save that instant cast for only the god you're currently playing. So you can set Mordred ability 1 to instant cast, and they will not affect when you load into this setting menu on a different god. You will have different settings here, all defaulted back to global until you change them.
Yeah.
And we also have color blindness modes, which is another one I think that's in usability. So we have color correction. So you can now toggle through these. It should work. You can just turn it on right now to get it'll put a slightly
Oh,
different,
it changes the whole
color tone to the whole. This is kind of like the more traditional blue yellow one that was
Nice.
kind of similar to Smite 1, but it applies to everything in the game.
I know a lot of people who
Particle effects, the
really,
environment. So
really
Smite 1's was
rely
very
on these
limited and Really
settings.
affected UI, I think. That's it. This one affects everything. So this is a pretty cool feature that Unreal Engine grants us. And this is just the start of these type of features too.
Yeah, just the beginning of various usability. But I know we're working on a lot of those. Cool to see one already in for close. And to move beyond that, and this
It'll
will
probably
go
show
into
on
some of the
Spectator,
settings,
though,
but I
Tez,
know that
just in case you
there's
do
been a
use
lot
it.
of work put in for performance improvement kind of across the board. So kind of explain some of those to me.
That's right. So we
It does look really
know
smooth.
this
Have you
is
guys
just
noticed
kind of a
that? They're on
given, but we
maximum.
wanted to shout
And
it out anyway.
the PC that Pawn's playing
The
on
game
right
runs
now is
better.
pretty
And then
good,
it did
but
in
it
the
isn't
alpha
like,
version.
Big win.
we
OP,
really just
OP,
put
OP.
a lot of dedicated programming work.
I was nosy and looked at this,
artwork
looked at it when I
into
was on
getting
it
our
playing
FPS up from the
backseat
alpha weekends
gaming.
to this patch. Like we knew this was something important. This is something we were planning for all along. The alpha weekends were just earlier builds of the game, and for this was the time that we really put in a huge sprint to really improve that. So you'll notice a few changes to your graphics settings in the setting menu. Some things might be reset to defaults and certain things for you. Also, we had when we were talking about the art style changes, depending on your settings, we had very inconsistent appearance of the game, depending on different settings. A lot of that stuff has been fixed. Like one thing, if you put on low settings, just
so
made the
this is-
whole game
this
way
is low.
brighter.
This is low now? Oh, hell yeah.
Wow.
That is so very different than what
about
it
to
was like
say,
3
Yeah,
years
but
ago.
in alpha weekends, if you set
Amazing.
something to all low, it
Does
would make the
low
whole
just look
game
like Smite
way
1, or
bright.
am I incorrect?
And so obviously people were complaining about maybe
Like,
the
low
art
just
style,
looks
'cause it
like Smite
didn't
1.
look intended at all.
Yeah.
We fixed a lot of that. We've a lot of these settings have had behind the scenes programming work done to make them more impactful. So like specifically we called out earlier particle effects. When you turn down the particle effects quality detail, you actually do see a lot changes in the particle effects that's going to give you better FPS.
Yeah.
So a lot of dedicated work from the environment team, programming teams, and particle effects teams to make sure, number one, the game's just baseline performance is better, and number two, you have more power to control your performance as you see fit based on what graphics settings.
And the level of effort, like for example, we were looking at traces every single day, and Jordan pinged design saying, "Hey, why is Mystical Mail taking 30 FPS off the game?" Well, our emitter that we design tempted had 1,000 emitters, so we did not escape anyone's eye either.
Yeah, a lot of designer-made temp effects were causing performance issues as
Yep,
well. So we
lots of focus on it.
Cleaned up all those. Just gameplay logic, designer coded blueprinting. Blueprints, which is essentially code scripting, was improved for performance. Just a lot of push stuff for
Yeah,
performance.
but
across
yeah,
the game.
like I said, it was with his design team program.
I
team,
would like a
every
little
team
bit
had
more
parts that could be made
uniqueness
better,
to
and
it
that's something
to
that we wanted
differentiate
do
it from Smite 1 a bit more.
alongside all the other
But
stuff that
admittedly, and I've been thinking about this a lot, I think a lot of that will come from whenever the map gets updated.
Yep.
I think that it'll have a much more
And it
Smite
was
2
cool
feel when the
we
map
hit
is
that
more
because,
unique.
For the longest time it was make this
So
game feel
I'm
like
expecting
Smite.
that personally.
Done pretty well. Obviously,
I
there's
agree.
always still work.
I
to
think
do.
it
We're
looks
still
a lot
working
like Smite
hard, but
1.
We got that.
On terms of like liking that more, I'm kind of just indifferent. I didn't like the realism, but I don't want it to be Smite 1 again. I just want some. I don't know. I just want them to go crazy. I want to have the best version
Voice
of like
chat.
the art that Smite can do, because Smite's
And
art team is
Push
just
to
so
talk is on by default.
unbelievable.
So push to talk on by default means that console players will need to do some configuration to use
Push
it. I
to
believe.
talk. So
'Cause
voice
not
chat.
all configuration setups will have a
Do we
default
have
push to talk
chat
button.
chat?
You need to change that to open talk, or you'll need to set a button. But voice chat is active. That will work, I believe, in all parts of the game. Does that work in the very front end too? It definitely works in the lobby. So it'll work in the lobby, the god selection screen, with your party and any other players that happen to be on your team in that screen, and it works during the game. And yeah, we will continue to expand voice chat features as we go forward. But it's ready here, and it's got push to talk by default, so you won't get blown out by any accidental audio, which was happening a lot when it was just defaulting to open chat.
Communication is key.
Yeah.
And then the last little thing here looks like just a pass to visual effects opacity and quality, which I think we kind of talked about.
No, this is a specific edition.
Very specific.
Not just the performance issue. We now have 3 different particle effects sliders, so you can actually change the opacity on ally, enemy, or self particle effects.
This
So
is
if you want to
really
effectively
fucking
turn
cool.
off they're in video, at the bottom. You want to turn off your self particle effects, you can slide that slider very low down, and your particle
that's
effects emitting
so
from your
cool.
gun, we don't let you turn them off, but they become very faint. So I guess maybe the
Yeah,
2.
see.
I will be doing
I've barely
this.
used
I
that.
will
I've used this
probably
really
have
well.
mine and my allies very low. I would probably do mine at like 10, my allies
you can
30,
hone in on
and then
that keep
enemies max.
or
That is
enemies at
so
100
fucking
and put
cool.
allies and self lower, or any combination of it. It's just really powerful control. Everything's gonna be up at 100 by default. But if you're like pro players who like to turn everything down, people with specific sensitivities towards particle effects, these are like, so you can just set it everything at 50, and the whole game's just like a little less than 10.
Yeah.
If you need to, but
What a cool.
everything's designed to feel impactful and clear and not noisy at 100.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of value to a variety of player types who might want to use that
Yeah,
setting.
just giving the player the control over that.
I'm gonna
so.
turn allies and enemies to like 0.
Yeah.
Be the protagonist of my own game.
Dude, true. They're all just swinging swords.
That feels like the least effective way to set this up. Winning,
Oh, no, I'm
winning
just
games.
memeing.
It's the most aesthetic way.
Oh, why did that chalk alt hit me? That was unfair.
gonna turn
Come
all
on,
the
go
HUD off.
complain on
Just
Reddit
do
about it.
this.
Oh, wait, my enemy particle effects were set to 10.
Oh god, that's
Someone
something
probably will do that.
we're gonna need that on the QA form as well.
Every time
Please
someone
make sure to
says,
put in
I
your
can't
task.
tell I was hit by this, we'll have to be like,
F
"What's your
that said,
particle
give us
effect?"
proximity chat.
I'm ready for the challenge run. Like, no enemy
go.
particle effect climb to deity. There we go.
Okay, we have, oh my god, we have 2 more big sections to
Yeah,
show.
so let's
okay,
keep
so
moving.
let's
So-
see the home screen.
Yeah, so now we're going into the home screen. We're stepping out of the in-game, and we're looking at what Smite looks like from the home screen.
So as some of you might remember, the alpha weekend
I know,
home
exa- yeah.
screen looked very temp, and
Yeah.
that's because it was.
Let me make sure.
We're right.
Let me make sure there's nothing on here that's gonna be.
Yeah.
That's true. That would
Production
be
hold
important.
off for a second.
Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you about this pawn. You maybe could switch to PTS for it if there's anything sketchy.
Well, if you want me to go to the
We are gonna have to go through gods.
Okay, well then
Oh,
yes,
yeah,
I will need to go to PTS. Let me
Okay,
go.
Yeah,
well
we can do
we'll
that.
we'll talk about the next few things. I think we have some screenshots to show, so we can come back to this. But we're gonna show the updated home screen art and design.
Yeah.
Yay!
It's not finished yet, but it's definitely much better than the Alpha Weekend 4, and it looks really good. It's representative
see it
of
in a
what we
second.
want. We're going to talk about card art returning.
Oh yeah, and that's a big point. That's a point we've talked about. We just had a video go out about it recently. Y'all
Yeah.
talked about it last time, but it's such an important piece of community feedback. We were happy we could action on. Hard arts are back.
So, a couple notes about card art is just that, we got the feedback about the renders. People weren't really feeling
Sorry
them,
you see me
so
alt tab.
We are
I tried doing window capture
Back
from
to
my
illustrated
browser,
card
but it
art.
was not playing
not
nice with me
everyone's
before
gonna
I
have
started
those ready
stream.
for this update.
Yeah.
There's still going to be a lot of renders in the game. There's going to be a few gods that have their, like gods like Hecate and Mordred. We don't have any previous card art to work off of.
Brand new.
Gods from Smite 1 will reference their Smite 1 card art, but we'll have some touch-ups being done.
Yeah.
We're trying not to change them too heavily. Some of the earlier versions we already did, we showed. People felt like we overdid that, so we're already doing some revisions on like Jingwei to bring it back somewhere more in the middle. People were really happy with a couple of the other ones we did, like Loki.
Yeah, Loki was a good.
There was I think we have a before and after we can show.
Yeah, for Loki.
So we can show the updates for that. If
And then once we're done with this, we can also I have the home screen.
Nice.
And we've already gotten a lot more feedback about just the first card arts we have in Smite 2. The size of card arts in the UI is a little different, so we have to adjust for that. We have gods like Ymir and Sol are cropped in a little bit. We're going to be looking about cropping them back out, giving them a little bit more space. So there's going to be more changes to that coming forward in the future. But TLDR, all
Smart, right?
gods in Smite 2 will have
It's not
true
Smite 1 patch notes.
hand-painted illustrated card arts, or their loading screens and selection screens. So here is old Smite 1 Loki. He's purple for some reason. No disrespect to the original artist. Like, we were very stylized and cartoony back then.
Yeah.
We stylized things up a lot, and we took a lot of artistic liberties.
Yeah, it is interesting though
direction
that I'm the
changes
only
dramatically
person
over
with Smite 2 category besides
Yeah,
Smite
so
game.
then in Smite 2, we've cleaned
Surprised
this up
more
to
people
look a
didn't
lot
think
more
to
like
do
what
that.
Loki actually looks like, color corrected.
Oh, you know
a
what?
little
There's
bit,
drops in the
lighting,
Smite 1
maybe,
category.
you
That's
know,
what it is.
Yeah, sharpen things up. So
Yeah.
There's not drops in the
Expect
Smite 2
this level of
category.
change with each card art.
Very cool. So again, I think we said that we
Home screen time.
check in. So yeah,
Yeah,
let's
we're
look at
good.
the home screen.
And then we're gonna pretty much live in game looking at the home screen for the rest of this
For now.
show.
rest of my life starting Tuesday. Beautiful.
Sheesh.
It's a lot cleaner, right? You know, we had a very boilerplate like functional one. It was very functional. That was important, was function. But now we're actually trying to get some style and design in here. So you've seen multiple updates to the art, the fonts, the sizing, the spacing of a lot of things. You've got this animated MoGraph Hecate in the background.
Your pom-pom video. This?
There is no longer a Pon Pon video. It has been removed.
No Pon
Was
Pon
it
video.
intentional that the Morgan is the background for the reported bug?
Probably.
That's so
Someone definitely
funny.
did that on
Probably.
purpose. It has to be.
Probably. So yeah, this looks really nice, and we're going to talk about a few things on the screen while we're here. We're going to talk about currency.
Yeah, let's talk about what the currency system look like for Smite 2.
So Pon Pon doesn't have any, or Big Mac Boy doesn't have any
that's what I
currency.
was laughing
This is not my account.
This is definitely
Maybe we should have logged
Chat
into a different
absolutely
account for
picked
this.
up
but-
on it.
So you
Big
can see
Mac
the
Boy.
blue diamonds up there. Those are diamonds. That's going to be the new premium currency for Smite 2. And you also will see your legacy gems, green Smite 1 gems up there at the same time. Those are going to be the only two currencies in Smite for the closed alpha phase.
Yeah, and something really important. So this is a shout out. We've talked about legacy gems a lot, right? And legacy gems are something that you get if you are a former Smite player who is moving into
No
Smite 2.
favor.
It's kind of our gift to you for stepping over from Smite
They
1
said
to
that during
Smite
the
2.
Dev Insight show.
It's
That's where I'm
all of
pulling
the
that
gems
knowledge
you've ever
from.
spent
No
returned as
favor at the
legacy
start.
gems, or double if you buy.
They might eventually add something of that kind of of that style, but no favor at the start.
Founders packs, right? But to just be super clear about what legacy gems do, they are basically just a tremendous pile of 50% off coupons, or for some things, 100 coupons, that let you buy things in games. So you'll see this in a little bit. Well, I guess we don't have any legacy gems on this account, so you won't see it. But as you
It
get
will
into
only
this-
present the option to you in the purchase flow if you
have-
own legacy gems.
Yeah, and what
Yeah,
they,
so
and-
we can't demo it on this
Yes,
testing.
from when
Yeah,
they were
but so
hovering
say
the
you have
Ascension
diamonds and
Pass in the
legacy
previous
gems and
Dev
you wanna buy
Insight.
an Ascension pass,
The
which we'll be
emotes
looking at here
are
shortly.
tied to
You'll-
the
if you just
Ascension
have diamonds, it'll
passes
show you
and
the full
mastering
price. You buy it
gods.
with diamonds, rock and roll. If you have legacy gems as well, you will see
Because the emotes are per
different
god.
currencies
So as you
displayed
level
on the
up
buy-
Susano,
the diamond price and the legacy gem price.
Yeah.
Because it's saying, hey, you have legacy gems, you can pay for half of it with legacy gems, and
and
half
you
of
get
it
the
for
Ascension
diamonds.
passes
So
by
again, it's
paying
just a
with
50%
diamonds
off
and gems,
coupon
as they're
for
mentioning.
most things. There will be a few things that you can't use legacy gems on, but there will also be a few things that you can use by 100% with legacy gems. So
Yep.
we'll get more into that as we continue on into the future, but just an important note that legacy gems are going to be, for those of you who are coming over and, you know, spent a lot of time and money in Smite 1, you're really going to be getting some value out of those as we.
So then we have ways to get free diamonds, which it is a premium currency, but as we are in Smite tradition, we want to make it accessible to players. You will have ways to do that. So, Pawn, if you want to navigate to the player profile, I think you can get a glimpse at the daily login system there. Boom, daily logins.
Looks like a lot of diamonds.
So you can get 225 diamonds per week
Huh?
for free.
Nice.
A lot.
Through the daily oh no, sorry, 100 diamonds. Oh, 225 is from the masteries. My bad.
We'll get there.
100 diamonds per week for the 7 days across the daily logins, and your progress never resets. If you miss a day, don't feel bad. You'll still progress to the next day to get that bigger. So 100 diamonds every 7 days. Then what we're going to show soon when we go to the God Ascension and Mastery tracks, you'll be able to get 225 diamonds for free from leveling up a god from Mastery level 1 to Mastery level 10, and 225 diamonds paid back to you for mastering a god through the Ascension levels from mastering it to level 1.
Yeah, well, I mean, this
So-
seems like a good time to go and look at the Ascension passes
Yeah.
/ mastery track. So let's
We
check
should.
those out.
Every god will have one. I forgot who we said we wanted to demo. Maybe
Yeah, we just got to choose.
Hades?
Sure, let's do Hades.
He has a really funny emote, so we'll get there. So when you get to the god screen, you default it.
You guys see Big Mac Boy getting gems in real time?
Loadout.
We do
Oh,
have
it
some
looks like
legacy.
I got gems.
Oh, someone gives.
Yeah,
Someone's
KD is just
Kayla's
working
probably
on it.
watching right
Somebody
now.
literally is right now.
What a saint.
Big Mac Boy is
KD.
earning money.
Kid-
King of
best.
Doom is a saint, or whoever else helped. Mastery and loadout you also
80
see
got
here,
that.
and
That's good.
and the ability to unlock the god if you don't. So let's look at the mastery. Here's the path that every god is going to have.
Two-
this. Oh, and they gave us.
And
2.7.
wow.
Oh my
I
god.
think 2.7 mil.
This is what it feels like to be a dev.
Yeah.
KD, you got that from my
Me
live
next,
chat.
please.
Hurry up right now, please.
Yeah.
So
After the stream, we'll talk.
Yeah.
first of all, this is where you can get all the stuff for leveling up your mastery. So play Hades and in PvP or AI matches, earn worshippers, and level up your mastery and earn these things. As you go.
Yeah.
Kitten
So
said they
you
meant to
see
do
the ones that are labeled
2700.
free, you get just as you level up the god. Don't have to do anything else. And
He's
then all the things
rolling
that are
in big
gold to
bags
unlock,
now,
you have
says
to unlock
Billy.
the Ascension
Yep,
Pass to
true.
get all of those rewards. Things I'm supposed to call out here is if you have the deluxe or ultimate passes, you will get the first 11 gods Ascension Pass default automatically unlocked, or all 23 if you have the ultimate pass.
Yeah, Ultimate Edition gets you all of them. So good. And again, worth noting that like on the free pass, you're getting a lot of cool stuff. You're getting the wave emote, the clap emote. You're getting free
8 weeks free to
diamonds,
play
and you're
login
getting,
bonus
you know,
to get
some of
the-
the stuff
True.
We'll talk about in a second. The new tracker says,
Whew,
We
look
went
at that
through
skin.
every reward on the inside show, so I want to be careful to not take too much time doing it again. But yeah, let's just go through the rewards real quick from the start. So Ascension, if you unlock Ascension, you immediately get Shadow Skin. Let's see it. Ooh,
Yeah.
we love it. Okay. You get the click it. You get the Blight Heals tracker. Tracks how much Hades has healed allied gods with the Devour Souls consuming Blight. You get a Mastery emote. This will be a new VGS input that you'll always be able to use in addition to other emotes they'll show. And this will change depending on what your current Mastery level is.
track your current mastery level.
And
Somebody
you
said
get a
imagine being
permanent
killed by Hades and he
25%
pops a
worshiper boost for
Mastery
this
1
god
emote.
So then,
Dude,
level 1.
I
Clap.
lose it.
A clap emote plus 10 diamonds. Level
Please.
2, objectives destroyed tracker.
Yep.
Level 3, God assist tracker plus 20 diamonds. Level 4, agonized gods.
Where's my
total time,
calculator?
gods have been spent stuck in the pillar of agony.
That's so good.
Tracker. Level 5, a free skin, the Onyx skin.
So you can
One
get
of our new,
5,100
default
gems
mastery
from an
skin.
Ascension Pass if you...
And 30 gems. Or if you have the Ascension, you also get the new Opal skin. a
Imagine getting
completely
killed
new
and
color
clapped
that everyone
on.
has. Generally, every god follows the same formula. They get the same things at the same
So...
level. Level 6, our new hilarious.
If you
global
buy
emotes.
the
They're so
Ultimate
cute.
Founders
Our team's
Pack,
gone
because you
And
get
our global
all the
emotes have a
Ascension
variety of
passes for
changes now.
every
They
god
have,
that's out for the
friendly
launch,
versus- or they have
you can get
self versus everyone else
5,000
view. So if you-
diamonds
when
from
you
just
fire a global
leveling
emote,
every
everyone
god
else will see
1
the
through
large
10,
one up in the
and
air.
you'll get
And when you use it,
25%
it'll kind of
worshiper
appear over your
boosters
shoulder behind your
for all
god.
those
So
gods,
you can
which
see
makes
a lot
it
more clear on the
feasible.
frame, 'cause most of the time you couldn't see it.
That's a pretty
It works
decent
really
deal.
good for content, and
That's
just
not
for,
even
you
a
know, for
shield
memeing,
comment.
if you're a streamer, it's really fun.
It's, yeah, super.
Yeah, and every god has a new one of those. Go check them out; they're hilarious. Level 7 is Wave plus 40 gems. Level 8 is a title related to your god.
Rotating big back boy.
Big Back Boy is going to be a meme forever. Rank level 9, God Kill Tracker. God stats return to loading frames. By the way, when we say
It's like a
trackers, you
dummy
display
account
those
that they
on the
have
loading
just to
fra-
kind
on
of
your
keep the
loading
game
screen, kinda like
updated, and
they're
this is
demoed
what's
here.
just
You can now
perpetually logged
customize your
into
loading frame
Steam.
with these kind of standard kills, assists, objectives tracker, or your god-specific special
I don't
trackers.
need to hear that feedback anymore.
And yeah, finally we can stop hearing gods on loading, god stats on loading
years.
frames.
Yeah, we did
And
it.
then finally at level 10, you'll unlock for free this badge that you can show off that you hit a level 10 mastery on a god, a big spike of diamonds. And for the Ascension Pass, you'll get the Radiant skin, the big chunk of diamonds all at once, and our new card effects, we're calling them.
Those are so sick.
And there's a different one of those for each different god you get to rank 10, and all of them are so cool. Ares is probably one of my favorite, just off rib. It is like, we showed it off in the Dev Inside, I believe. It's chains, it's incredible.
Oh my god,
But
I love that.
This is a really cool system for y'all to go and look at for yourselves. So starting next Tuesday, every single one of the gods has an Ascension Pass that follows this general layout. You get a ton of incredible rewards, a ton of free diamonds, so premium currency, and then as it says there at the very end, once you've run the gauntlet, you have all the rewards, you will continue earning mastery stars forever after you complete the gauntlet.
Do you want to demo actually buying this?
Yes,
Sure.
go for it. Buy that. I don't think we're going to get some things. Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
So
0 Blight Heals, but you'll get more.
Yeah, you get all the
We actually are going to start trackers. Like, we have
Let's
a lot of
go.
details about the individual cosmetics in the patch notes. I'm not going to go over all of
W.
them today, but we have skins, trackers, badges, card effects, animation emotes, mastery emotes, global emotes, titles. So those are kind of the cosmetic
Someone
types,
said
and
this
all of their
24/7
specific rules
alpha
are
is
labeled in
open
patch
for how
notes.
long?
think
I can
for
only play on
today,
a
we'll just
weekend.
go to loadout next.
Yeah, let's check out the loadout.
So cool thing about SMITE 2 is we now have
Read it again.
god-specific loadouts. So many of the cosmetics, in fact, most of them will be customized at a god level. So your Hades card by default will look completely different, customized completely different than your Anubis card.
Yeah.
You can pick completely different trackers, completely different effects, completely different badges, whatever. So first you can check skins. Next up, we have badges. I don't think we have many unlocked, so it'll be hard to demo them, but you can see the way they are placed on the bottom of your badge, you can preview your whole card. If we had these unlocked, you would be able to click equip, and then you'd be able to choose the position, and you can choose up to 3 badges across the bottom of your
Yeah,
screen.
like left, right, and middle.
Right. And then you have trackers. Those display just above the badges, and you can have up to 2 trackers. So here we have the blight seals.
cool.
We can confirm it. We can place it. There's maybe still some bugs on locking in and previewing these things, but you can set up a fully functional card art. And then finally, we have the card effects. And I think we let you preview all of these even if you don't own them.
sick.
Those are so cool.
Each one of these are designed to be inspired by a specific god, but you can equip these on any god.
Yeah.
These are not god like most of our cosmetics, although they're unlocked from a god track and they're inspired by the design.
I think
of
that's
a
my
god,
favorite.
They're fully mixed and matchable. So if you want to set up your Hades with
Yeah,
full,
I want this one on Hades.
if you want to set up full kawaii Jingwei stuff on your Hades card, go for it.
Yes.
Go for it.
Ooh,
Please
wait, that
do.
one
And
with
then you can
the-
pick
Fun. I haven't
a
seen
cutesy
these.
Hades
like
skin
the
that you
feathers,
like,
it's
even
light
make a
blue and
skin.
pink. That's pretty
The
sick
only,
too.
main thing I'll add is the card art, the character.
9
That'll
wins.
always
Oh, it's
change
Kukulkan.
whatever god or skin you're
Yeah,
playing.
God and skin you're using.
Everything else is fully customizable and will
There's the
save
Ares
per
one.
There's
god.
the
Oh, the Ares one is
Yeah.
dope.
Chains are so.
Yeah, and these are really cool.
Yeah, so absolutely
Fenrir, I
incredible.
think?
Established.
These are awesome.
Yeah, that makes sense. Established again through each god. It's just a really cool way to be individual and to show off like this is my style. And again, trackers are something that we've got a lot
Dude,
about.
I
feedback
can't get
about
over
it.
that
Stats
comment.
on
It
loading
really
frames.
bothered
Stats
me.
on loading
And now we have really cool stats that can actually be meaningful and fun instead of just
Oh,
like the.
I have unlocked everything.
Someone did it
Oh,
again. Yeah,
Katie.
let's do it.
Man, you are so good at this.
So, and these are also previewing all of the Divine Legacy rewards that you'll be
Can't
able
wait to
get
see
if
who's
you
queuing the big
had
boy,
Tier 5
Big Mac Boy account
Hades
with
you
all
can
the stuff
equip that
unlocked.
Blight Crow Hades badge now,
Yeah.
and the only way to get those badges are to have that item in Smite 1.
Yeah.
So you'll see a variety of Smite 1 beta tester. I think that's the console version. There's a variety of Divine
there's
Legacy
a bunch.
achievements. They all grant these badges here. I love the Sobek one just because I like Sobek, but it just
Toss this one on there.
oh, you're a boomer. You're a Smite boomer.
That's a
card.
boomer
Nice.
boomer one
This
right
is
My
there.
convention call. There we go.
Convention college.
I,
you
this
need to
is
be there.
this is peak what mine's
Yep.
gonna be.
Eek.
There you see, I love it. The
Smite way.
matching thematic border with the god, and then I'm a boomer badges.
Wow.
White heels. Put a title on. Put a title on.
Let's see.
Oh, title. You have to go to player. The player. So let's go back to the player profile. Let's do the last 3 cosmetics. So the ones that are account wide are you pick a badge. Any badge you've unlocked can be served as an avatar,
Oh,
which you will display.
If only I could. I hope I get a
as,
cool fucking
in your
avatar of
party
some
menu
kind.
and the UI and stuff like that. So pawn whichever.
Yeah,
one you
definitely.
beta tester again.
Yeah, continuing with beta tester.
Equip it, and you'll see at the top right, it became that. And if you back out, you'll see your profile now shows it there.
Really cool.
Oh,
The
I'll
home
have
screen will show it
PS4
too.
beta tester.
And then you also have your titles. Titles are applied to all gods. So when you pick your title, Executioner, it's
Procaster
kind of
avatar,
your title.
please,
It's
dude.
It's not Executioner Hades. It's Executioner Big Mac
I'm
Boy.
definitely a sommelier. I'm definitely a sommelier.
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 Oh, that's
Sommelier
so
of
good.
Big Macs.
Sommelier.
Notes of
Tactical
fruits in
Big
this
Mac.
one. Yeah, and then finally we have the global emotes. These are not god specific. But we have
Now we get to see all of them.
these
This is
won't
so
these
good.
all animate in game. You can't see the full animation preview here,
Oh,
but you
gotcha.
can quickly
Yeah.
preview all of them here, even if you haven't.
Oh,
They're so good.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah. All right, we can't look at them all. We got to
Yeah.
save something for people to go and look at. So from here, I guess it seems like you were given most everything in the game. So do we want to get right into a couple of the skins people can look to from here? We can probably just go straight to them in game here. So first up we have, and this is exciting, our very first brand new Smite 2 skin. So exclusive, brand new to Smite 2 skin.
Oh, this is gonna be
because
so
it's
good.
Hecate. It's Lunar Hex Hecate.
This is gonna be so good.
You can go into the loadout area and
it is,
we have Witch Hecate.
Nice.
Look at the fucking
Wow.
cape.
and
Yeah.
you can go to ability. Did we get rid of the practice button here? Might have a bug.
Loadout, yeah,
It's
it
here.
would have to be here.
Enter
Yeah.
practice. I wonder if it'll come in with the skin or not.
I would.
No,
So,
default.
Nah,
unfortunate.
dark.
Okay, practice mode is still default skins. I just was mostly curious. Okay, Pawn, you're gonna have to switch modes and get us in the game with the
Yeah,
Lunar
so we can
Hex
check
skin,
this.
though.
Yeah, we're gonna look at the skin in game, so we'll get there in a sec. But yeah,
Surrender trick practice.
Yeah, it was too tough.
it was
You lost.
That's
jungle
so. That's the
practice?
first.
Yeah,
I know that was
Yeah,
something
let's just
that
call it
I
practice now, by
personally
the
was
way. We changed it.
with all the skins that they've done, like the Immortal Honor event, for example.
All that
I know it was a lot of like, oh, this has to be made for Smite 1, but this is the first one where we're actually getting like full Smite 2. So, it looks so good.
Now the real question is, do I have GM cheats? on this account.
Did you
KD
switch?
quick.
Oh, you switched accounts, so you won't be
He's a
able
Big Mac
to
boy.
switch
He's
class,
not
or
in.
we'll have to log out to pick the other skin.
Yeah.
Katie, we need you. You should. Okay, Katie says, yeah. We should.
See, Katie's got us taken care of. So again, super exciting though.
I'm giving a
because this
demo
is-
here of the lobby pick if just people.
Oh,
haven't seen it
you
before.
Oh yeah,
might need to
true.
relog some
You're
stuff.
getting the full experience here. But yeah, this is the first Smite 2 specific skin. So our first
Your
Smite 2,
mystical
new to Smite 2
majesty.
God.
Default equipped here.
Yeah, because you use the default selector. So
I
and
didn't think
what
it
a
was
great
worth the
skin.
practice.
See, we're learning, always learning.
You can't. We don't currently have the feature for everyone to play all skins for free in practice yet. That'll be something we work.
But yeah, so just super.
You didn't
exciting.
customize your Hecate
Yeah.
card, so we
I
don't
am a
see it
sommelier
here.
stare.
You are still
Yeah, you are
Smallity.
Sommelier
Big Mac boy knows his Big Macs.
Yeah.
That looks pretty sick.
But no, so cool to start
The
seeing
part of the
us be able
fucking
to
staff
design
is
and
really
implement
funny to
skins
me.
Just for the new game.
Does level up not work, Pawn?
I don't. Well, I can't bring up the.
I'll press escape,
You have to use the
Debug
debug
HUD.
menu.
and now you can use that command.
Aha!
Look at that.
Oh,
I
something
don't
be-
remember how to get rid of them.
Oh, it worked.
I don't remember how to.
Katie, how do you get
Um,
rid of the menu again? It's a command there. End debug or something.
Probably just like
Oh
escape.
man, see, this is why I love.
Are
This.
you in chat?
Yeah, I'm
Who's
in chat.
Is we're just like this is just the real experience. No, like y'all are
There's a
seeing one
command
for
to get
one
rid of
the
it.
way that we work through stuff. So
Yeah.
People won't mind
Debug
looking
HUD.
at
It's
No.
debug space HUD supposedly.
Oh.
But no, in that command line.
I was hoping it was
You
escape.
can tell
and
that
I would feel smart.
I don't do as much in this environment
yeah,
versus dev.
more the dev environment. All right, well let's see some of the abilities for this skin. Just
Yeah.
it's
live
yeah.
check. But yeah, no, to rein it in. Super excited to see.
Ooh.
Oh, that's awesome. That's cute.
no, those
It's
commands
a
are
little
not for
bit
the
more of a cuter take on a witch. For
Yeah,
this,
it's
for this
less
skin.
like-
she's very serious by default, so we went a
Oh,
little
the
bit
little
fun.
the
for
little
her
like
first.
glitter stars.
Similar like general theming is what you'd expect Hecate, but a little bit more fun.
Yeah.
The ult's probably gonna look
So
sick.
let's bring up the debug HUD again. We're going to. Debug HUD again.
Sometimes it goes away, sometimes it doesn't.
Okay. Now I have something we can hit.
Now we have a you muted.
You can see a lot of the stars, sparkly stars and moons on all the
Yeah.
particle effects here. Yeah, so this is a full,
This is really sick.
we have new skin types,
Yeah.
which are labeled in the UI, and are labeled in the patch notes, ranking up from essentially like tiers of rarity, like
Ooh,
you're used to
that's
in
cool.
an RPG, like
Yeah.
green, blue, purple, orange.
Kind of wish it was
Very
more
cool
blue,
system.
but it's still
So
really
this
cool.
one has is what you'd be used to as a your normal Smite one complete skin.
It's
gonna
really
have
sick.
full particle effects update, voice acting update, model update.
Yeah, and overall, just again, really cool to see, and it's something that we're just now getting into being able to start with. Is again using all of this new technology and breaking into this tool and creating brand new skins for Smite 2. So, very very cool and very. I don't know. Again, another one of those monumental things where we get to see our first Smite 2 god get her first actual skin. So, really excited for it. I love the theme. I love the look of it. But we do have one more skin to talk about, which I'm excited for. So I don't know. Are we gonna have to?
No, he should be able to switch
Yeah.
class.
All right. So
Wait, no, the switching classes per skin is a huge pain.
is it?
Well, yes, because it won't autofill, and I have no clue.
You know what I
what
was just
skin
thinking?
ID
Just
this
thinking about
is gonna
Tess.
be.
Okay, that's fine. So we can
Well,
hop
let's
back.
go look
There
at it
should
on
be
the
like
UI, and then
we
a
can hop back
somebody
in.
should pre-make a Smite 2 resource folder for the picks and bands application for the amateur scene, with Smite 2 renders and stuff like that.
Handle the-
That'd be a cool thing to kind of get on top of. Just because like the resource part of it's gonna be something that's gonna be tedious, and it'd be cool to get those updated god arts and stuff like that.
That means type of skin purchase for 100% legacy gem.
Nice.
So there
As
will
you
be
can see, it is labeled there classic, and
Yep.
so it'll tell you it's sort of like rarity type and it's availability type.
yeah. So the classic Smite skins are a theme of skins that are going to be referenced.
Yeah, I'd be
from
down to
Smite
help.
1,
We can-
and
we
thought,
can
what's a
kinda
good way to do
convene in the
that that makes
production
sense?
chat to
'Cause
try
we
to
still
make a
want
couple,
these,
like-
but, it'd feel bad.
What
being
we
like,
could
"All right,
do
now
is we could just do a couple variants,
Have,
like a couple
like,
simple variants that have the Smite 2 characters and like
Have that
either
skin.
render screenshots or and it'd be only one band. We could all kind of pitch in and do like one to three versions for the amateur leagues that are going to start with Smite 2. Because I mean, otherwise, I don't know who else is going to do that stuff at the beginning.
Yeah, and if you want to quickly,
I'm trying
yeah, hop
Yeah,
in
let's
game,
do
we'll
it.
a
show
little
off that.
behind the scenes of things I'm doing personally. I am trying very hard to get something set up that is more unique for Smite 2 to help with that stuff. But that's
Actually go
it's something I'm really trying to do kind of on my own. So we'll see when that's there. But I think it'd be cool to start that out. Even honestly, I know like people prefer the god art, like the card art, but even if it was renders for the amateur scenes at first, that'd be kind of cool.
We kind of jumped through it, but as you saw in there too, there are all the little clocks like also on that screen, so you can see which that.
The auto build picker, the relic picker,
Yeah, that's something we can work on
We
in,
have
in
those
Comfy
new,
Casters for sure.
confirmed purchase confirm pop-ups help you show when you got items, especially if you're on auto.
Yeah, I
build,
know
so
I
you
know
gotta
what you're
open
talking about,
item
Tess.
stores, nice.
Angus
of
has been
things.
filling me in on
Ooh,
that stuff.
sparkly.
That is sparkly. Ooh. The color pattern is so fun.
Yeah, he's like a mad jester, right?
Yeah.
So it fits.
It does fit very well. So I mean, always a joy to see these things come to life with all.
Are we still on any sort of particle opacity settings, Pon, or
Nope.
lowest settings, or did you reset all
These
that?
would be default.
Okay,
Cool.
cool.
Yeah, 'cause
I-
we changed.
Oh, 'cause we
High
changed
and everything's on.
environment,
Okay,
yeah.
cool. I just wanted to check, but it looks good. I mean, I thought it
does.
looked good. I just wanted to double check.
I love that.
Yeah, I agree.
Love the pulses.
Yeah.
There's all this like glitter kind of in there too.
This
Like,
looks
all
cool.
The particle effects are cool.
Just to also remind people that there's all these if you hit tab you
Yes.
get access to all these cheats and you can
Friends.
spawn a tankier bot because this mirror is dying very fast. It'll be like-
Squish. And yeah, because I remember that system's really cool because like
You can donate from whole inventory.
yeah, you can create builds for them. So you can test like very, very intuitive and definitely a little easier to use than like the 57 buttons on the floor. So, but
Yeah, I mean, even in here, we can call out. We still made some HUD adjustments. We've done some HUD art updates, the borders of things, to better fit the contrast of the game, better pop so into the background.
yeah,
We adjusted the
It looks really nice.
ally and enemy bars to put the allies in a place you're more. used
Yeah,
to from
I'm with you,
One.
Tess.
Just
I'll make a
lot of
ping
stuff
about it
here.
later in
Love
Comfy
things.
Casters for
Again, we
anybody
saw
who wants to
practice
pitch
map
in.
is a lot more
Do a few
fleshed out
different
now.
I love
variations.
this outer area. You can see the outside and stuff. What the?
yeah, that's crazy.
That's gorgeous.
it is.
Practice goes hard.
Yeah.
Practice goes real hard.
Practice has no business going this hard.
Oh man, all right.
Outer
Well,
lane area
That is so
cool.
beautiful.
I think we're just we just want to throw off a last few things we're seeing. There's so much went into this build.
Yeah.
I'm
We're
telling you, when they
officially
do the
done, I
first
think, at this
actual
point with the
Smite 2
stuff in the
like
game build
map
Danny's
made
gonna
with
do
like
a few
looks
announcements
in
that's really
mind and
exciting
not just
out of
functionality to be a
game
map,
stuff, but this is essentially
that's just gonna
Any
go
last
insane.
Things, big shout outs to everyone on the dev team.
Oh,
Thank you so much
unbelievable.
across every department. Big thank you for the efforts you put in recently, and big thank you to all the devs for really taking the community feedback seriously.
oh yeah.
It can be a real time consuming for us to filter through all that and like work through it, but it's worth it.
Oh,
And
come on.
everyone on every department has been on board with that.
Yeah.
Very humble about it, and it's really meaningful. And I want to just thank you all for your patience and your perseverance through your hard work and your understanding of this, all that feedback and all the work we did these last few weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to fully appreciate the scale of it, definitely go even if you don't read all the patch notes, just go scroll through them just to
Go
get
through it once for Pod and
sense,
AJ.
a sense of all the things that are there. There's so many things we didn't cover, given just the time constraints of the show, that are really, really interesting.
Speaking
and
of patch
a lot
notes, I
teams
wanted
have
to
put in
post that
effort to
link
make sure
somewhere.
this is the best close-off experience we can give you.
Yeah, I mean, I think I said it once earlier. 41 like size 11 or 12 font, standard Times New Roman, 41 pages of Google document that made up these patch notes minimum. And again, look, there
Wow,
are still
that's
some
actually-
things
that's
that maybe,
crazy.
like they cut back the wording to not be too verbose after 41 pages. Like it has been insane. And again, it's just a huge shout out to not only the entire team and every department who's worked tirelessly to deliver this to y'all, but for y'all as well for working with us. Like this, from the beginning.
And
we
this
wanted
is-
the process
that's
to be
without
something that
any of
wasn't
the
just
stuff
us
that
delivering
esports
a
is cooking
product
up.
to you. It was us
For those who
working
want to
with
be
y'all
on that
create
Smite
something
2
that we all love, because
bull rush with me.
Smite isn't just a game for a lot of people here. Smite has been a lifestyle. Smite has been like a passion, and the people who have been working here, there are people who are like, no, like I could stop working right now, but I'm having fun. I want this to be better. I'm excited about this, and the amount of time that people have just sat around working out of the passion of their hearts to make this awesome. I could talk all day about it. I'm not going to, but thank you all, Titan Forge team and community of Smite, for making this possible and for what's going to happen after Tuesday and for hopefully every year beyond. But again, a few more updates to wrap this up because you know me, I just can't help but talk. First off, we have a little esports to talk about. So that would be really cool. So first up, August 31st and September 1st.
Okay.
Of course, we're gonna do a tournament for Smite 2. Why would we not do some tournament stuff? We're gonna have fun with it. So make sure y'all check that out. Again, we have the stuff on the screen. So a 24/7 closed alpha tournament. Scan the barcode if you're interested for more information, or go to the.
I will be casting that.
But
Shocker.
AMEA is August 31st.
I'm very excited about it.
NA is September 1st. So. Again,
Enter teams.
Just check them out. You know, we're getting people into the environment and we're getting people to play the game and be competitive about it. Because what's more fun than playing competitively and watching these people get out? Beyond that, too, we have one other cool piece of information that you can look forward to tomorrow. That's Friday. So, you know, we have our casual Friday blocks, but tomorrow we have some more than casual information we're excited to share about Vegas. So a lot of cool updates we're excited for y'all to learn. You're going to have to tune in tomorrow for those, though. So mark it on your calendars. Leave Twitch up for the next 20. Now we're moving into community news. Now, this is another really exciting thing that I'm super happy to share as we launch in to Smite 2's 24/7 closed alpha 1 August 27th, and we'll be having Twitch drops available for Smite 2 as well as Smite 1. So to go over the Twitch drops, for one, these are going to be category wide. Specifically, we are going to have legacy gems and Smite 1 viewer points are available category wide. So regardless of who
So you don't really lose anything by watching Smite 2 instead of Smite 1.
Not a thing.
That's the main thing.
That is the main thing. You go watch some Smite 2, you're still earning your rewards. Don't even worry about it. Again, category-wide legacy gems and Smite 1 viewer. Now, creator program exclusive.
Big
if
W.
you're in the creator program, or you've been thinking, I want to get into that Smite 2 creator program, we definitely encourage you to try, make content, have fun, join the community. They're amazing. If you're in the creator program, you have some exclusive drops. So the first two are the God Champ title and badge. So two super cool rewards. But you'll also be able to by watching people who are in the creator program, you'll be able
tomorrow
to
for
earn the
esports
Meltdown Soul
updates for
skin,
those who didn't fully catch
for
it.
Smite 2.
Tomorrow
So
for
specifically, you'll
esports
be earning
update.
that skin that you see there for Smite 2. So,
I'm
watch
fucking
anybody
telling
if
you,
want to get the free
don't
viewer
miss
points
it.
and legacy gems, or find somebody who's part of the creator program to earn the title badge and skin for Smite 2. So a lot of really cool rewards. And it is worth noting as well that the soul skin you see there is going to be a free Twitch drop.
Just found out I'm streaming tomorrow.
Go support a creator, watch them, enjoy the content, Smite 2 in action. But if you don't have the time or you happen to miss this, at some point in the future you will be able to get the Meltdown Soul skin for legacy gems.
The news is going to be, I think you guys are going to be happy with the news.
If you happen to miss it, don't worry, we got it. But beyond that, go support a creator and enjoy some of the new content from the game, because there are people who I know are just so excited to get in and start making incredible Smite 2 content, and we are right around the corner from that being available. But wow, I think
is that it?
I'm scared to say it, but that's it. We did it.
There's always more in the actual doc.
Oh yeah,
There's probably some things we forgot.
It's not even 5. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
Hey, we're supposed
Chat
to
for
clean
9
this up
minutes?
right at 5 so I can get home in time for the family and dinner, huh?
There we go. Look at that. We got AJ home for his family. That's what Smite's
you,
all
team.
about.
Thank
Is
you.
family. So again,
I don't want to be evil 80s dad.
thank y'all so much again for joining us for this show, for joining us on this journey, and for getting excited for Smite. Again, I'm going to say it one more time. 24/7 next week. The only way to get guaranteed access is to pick up one of those Founders Editions. We will be doing, code giveaways. You can sign up on smite2.com for code giveaways. But the
Ranked,
only way to
permanent progress, no resets.
True. Permanent progress is important.
Yeah, cosmetics are yours to own forever.
Yeah, this is like your account.
If you have Divine Legacy transfer or linking issues, make a support ticket.
Make sure
all that stuff should be functioning.
Yeah, make sure that you're playing through the Smite 2 launcher. We're not doing Smite 2 like early access. Like the actual Smite 2 launcher will be the one to use moving forward, because we are transitioning into this is Smite 2. You're building your progress. Like, we're not resetting things.
This is the game.
The game is
Yep.
open.
Not resetting
For the
things
first
was
time,
mentioned. I know
hopefully
there was a
9
lot of
years from
people
now,
who were
update
weird
show.
about that.
I'll probably have a cane for some reason. And I'll be like,
I know
welcome
it should have been
back.
obvious,
So,
but I
but
did
either
see some
way,
stuff on Reddit
super
about that.
excited. And yeah, thank y'all all so much for being here on the show. Thank you, Max, for joining us earlier. KD for saving us in the game.
Yep.
And for everybody who's worked on this and poured their heart and soul into it for the last, I don't know, year and a half or more.
Oh, we got leaks.
we're
We got
excited
leaks.
To see y'all on Tuesday. Excited to hear what you
Silva
have to say.
in Smite game
Excited to
chat
see some Smite
said,
2.
no tournament coming to South America. Where'd it go? I just lost it. Somebody said, no tournament to South America again. Hi-Res know how to kill a game. And Hindu Man said, it's coming, bud. Oh my god, leaks. You catch that? Music's bumping. Tomorrow we get esports news. I'm so excited. I've been waiting for this news to be. It's so fucking hard not to talk about, and I'm so excited about it. I'm so proud to like be a part of it. It's so fucking hard not to talk about it. It is so difficult. Hope everyone's feeling as good as me at the moment. I'm like gassed up right now. I'm so excited. All right. So, my overall feelings, if you can't tell, I'm fucking excited. I think it's great. I'm so excited for Tuesday, 7 a.m. Waking up in the morning, gotta get fresh, gotta go downstairs. We will be streaming Smite 2, doing Smite 2 stuff. I have been on the Hopium from the beginning because, like, I don't know, man. There's something about like seeing and hearing passion when you meet people in person that really. I was kind of juiced up before that, but there's something about the passion that I've been exposed to recently that really gets me involved and makes me a believer, especially on the esports side. I'm so excited for the esports stuff to be public, finally, and for it to get started soon, TM. So that's kind of the big thing too. But yeah, tomorrow. I'm not sure exactly what they're doing for the Smite 2 esports announcements. If it's just going to be a post thing, if it's going to be a video thing. So yeah, I will be doing that. I'll definitely react to it. We'll do the latest Smite stuff, talking about the esports news. I already have 2 guests for latest Smite, so make sure you check out the podcast on my YouTube. I'm gonna head off. I have a date tonight with my girlfriend. We're going to see Deadpool and Wolverine. So you have a safe night yourself. I'll see you tomorrow to talk about Smite 2 esports, and I'll see you Tuesday to stream Smite 2, and you can watch me feed. Thank you for hanging out. Everybody have a safe night. Have a great night. Later.